Hi guys, welcome to Back to Basics Live with myself, Sims. Oh, it's been hell to get here. This is episode 11 and for the first time ever we are going live. We're never doing it again because, Jesus Christ, there are an immense amount of problems. So, first of all, welcome obviously to my... You'll see Harry's having some cam problems. His connection's been breaking. I'm so sorry. And we need to roll. So, I think he's got a picture of a cat there possibly. Hey. Right, anyway, welcome all, everybody. Thank you. You joined with me, Sims, Mr. Adam AZ. Ham's in the background doing all the running of things, and Slinky is there, I promise you. He will be talking. This is going out in association with TeamBeyond.net and TopMid.eu. So, this is the one we've all been waiting for. This is the settings, the big one. We're doing V4 versus TM versus V5. It's going to be good. So, first of all, I'm going to start off. You will see on the stream right below me somewhere, I can't see if it's left or right, there will be a donations. This is for TopMid.eu. This is to give the EU the chance to stand up to AGL as in streaming purposes. Whatever you can give, any dollars or anything, we ask nicely. If you can give us anything, please do. I'm not going to sit here and beg for your money. This is a stream, we're here to have fun. But if you would like to donate anything, $1, 50 cents, whatever you want, £1, €1, anything, please do. Every little helps. And I want to thank all the people so far that have donated. That money that you see there, that has come from donations from people across the world. All of Top Mid. I've had some from America. It's good. And that's going to buy us an ATM Blackmagic. And then we can stream all our Halo championships to the web and give you guys some good content and show you that the EU, Halo is not dead. Point blank. We are in, we are back, we are live, we are kicking, we are good. So, let's get cracked on with the show. First of all, I want to welcome our guests. We have got two massive special guests for this show to talk about the settings. We've got the big man, Eric Hewitt, Ghostayame, to talk about the settings. He is one of the big designers in all these that gives us V4, and he's going to give us V5 soon, hopefully with some different things that we don't see. And we also have Mr. Justin Dees. iGotUrPistola. They are both on the show. This is going to be huge. Guys, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having us.
No problem. How you feeling, guys? You looking forward to this?
Oh,
yeah, definitely, of course. Happy to be here.
I can't wait, man. I love just talking to people, and I haven't ever talked to you guys before, so this is going to be a fun experience.
I know, we had Diesel on not so long back, and he said you'd be definitely up for this, but I just never managed to contact you. But you're here now. You get to say some serious stuff. I'm having words in my ears that Harry is back. Harry, hello. He put a hat on in recognition of you, Eric, by the way. He says, I'm going to put an Eric cap on, just to be like you.
Nice,
so,
nice.
yeah, guys, thanks for joining. It's really, really appreciated. There's quite a lot of stuff. As we know, there's the universal settings and things like that. At Top Mid, it's kind of an uneven thing. We want to go to a universal game type. There is no gripe about that whatsoever. But as Top Mid is mainly there from a competitive point of view, a European competitive point of view, we've gone for settings that we think promote competitive gameplay. Now, we're going to get your views on it, Ghost. It's great to have Pistola here because as been on the #1 team in the world right now, you can give us your views and thoughts on, one, what you think of our settings, two, whether you think they're right or not, three, if you think they'd work and you'd enjoy playing them, and Eric, you can do the same. It's an all-out to get together to see what you think as well, Eric, of our ideas, and try and create a V5 that we can all play in Throwdown competitively together.
Yes.
Because,
for sure.
as we know, Halo 5 is going to have dedicated servers. There's no more host crap where we're going to get lag going across to America or you to the EU. We're going to have dedicated servers. We can play each other finally on a decent connection, and we can have some good games and get this interaction even more of different, the US and EU. I want us to be one big community, and I'm sure you're both exactly the same. It is how it is. So, get on with the show then. First of all, people who usually watch this, we usually do it on YouTube, but people who do watch this, we always move on to the Halo Bulletin first. Thankfully, we're going to do it again anyway, even though it's a second show, we're going to quickly have a rundown of the Halo Bulletin, because we've got Ghost here, so if he wants to jump in, he can do. But right now, Harry, again, is having connection problems because he is the tightest man in the world and can't afford a decent one. So, Adam is going to run with it. Adam, Halo Bulletin.
Hey,
Give it
everyone.
to us, homeboy.
This is all Harry's fault, so I'm going to have to bore you for about a minute or two. I'm going to run through this quickly, considering most people want to hear about the actual debate being the settings. Basically, RTX, the thing we covered last time, basically done the big massive free-for-all. There was 64 players in the final, battling out for those 6 spots to get to compete in Seattle for $200,000. The finalists were Snipe Down, Goofy, Toxic, Nate, Strong Side, Foot Panda, and Dale967, I believe is correct. But yeah, that was pretty much what happened. If you want to check the broadcast, go to twitch.tv/343industries. The rebroadcast is there. It's all linked. It's easy to find. Go check it out if you feel like you want to. The other thing that's quite big that kind of came out was the panel at RTX, where people we talked about last time spoke about which DLCs were coming out. Now, the Championship Bundle contains all 3 DLCs, as well as bonus content. One of the things that we saw at RTX was called the Bullseye Pack, which is basically this new game type called Ricochet, which is pretty much like Griffball, very similar to it. Again, you can watch it on the stream if you go back and watch the rebroadcast. But the good thing about this Championship Bundle is that you don't have to buy them all at the same time. You can buy them separately. Now, first one, Pistola, jeez. The first thing is the Bullseye Pack, which has the map Vertigo. Not a lot of people have seen it. We were going to show a video of it, but I'm pretty sure Hamza had some problems with it. The trailer you can watch online, you can especially watch on YouTube. And the vertical map is basically an asymmetrical map that provides a wide variety of indoor and outdoor combat. Map itself is usually like a Slayer and has extraction in it, and it's best to play between 8 and 10 players. Now, the map that we care about is Pitfall, which people will remember as the Pit back in Halo 3. We even have a good Forge version of it in Halo Reach, and I've seen a lot of gameplay from it, and it looks fantastic. Like, everyone's gonna get their teeth stuck into it, and hopefully, Ghost, you gonna try and implement it into the set?
Yeah, definitely. I think we'll touch on that subject for the V5 part. But yeah, I'm definitely excited about looking into Pitfall. We all know that it was one of the more favored maps back in Halo 3, and also recreated a bunch of times since then. So it'll definitely get some love from the testing phase for sure.
Good. Well, I'm pretty sure everyone's looking forward to that. The other map pack you can buy individually is the Infinity Armor Pack, which, if you go to the Bulletin, you can see the actual images. One of them's the Mark V, which is my favorite armor, which is from Halo CE. There's ODST armor, which looks pretty badass. And there's this armor called Prefect armor, which it looks like something at Predator. So you can check that out on the Bulletin if you want. And then the last, there's also the Steel skin pack, which basically every weapon in the game has the steel. It's kind of like Gears of War, where most of the weapons have their own individual skins. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if I'll use it, to be honest. And also, with the Halo 4 Championship Bundle bonus content, you get 5 weapon skins. There's a weird assault rifle with a face on it, with teeth on it. It looks kind of cool, I guess. There's 8 new stances. What else is there? Oh, there's 5 new armor skins to Tracer, Column, Python, Bayonet, and Solid. And also, there is this thing called Resistor Tactical Package. Yeah, package. Basically, it gives you a sneak peek into the Resistor armor mod. It's basically it's called Survivor. So if you're in a vehicle and it blows up, you get ejected out of it, which means you don't die. I'm guessing that will come in handy for Big Team, for Warhogs, and for Banshees. So yeah, that's not so bad. There's also Recharge. These are going to be coming out on the 20th of August. They come out the day before the release of the Championship Bundle. Recharge decreases the time it takes for your shields to recharge, and like I mentioned with Survivor, ejects you out of the vehicle. So yeah, there's going to be more information about these armor mods at San Diego Comic-Con panel, and I'm obviously sure we'll learn more about it. So that's pretty much most of the bulletin covered, I think.
Yeah, and then the only other thing I wanted to touch on regarding the Bulletin is just the great online qualifier system that was put into place. I know that 343 Bravo and also Joshua Mank, another big name over there at 343, they've been working extremely hard, as well as a bunch of the rest of the guys over at Halo Waypoint, to really make what they, all the mistakes that they kind of learned from, obviously from the original Infinity Challenge. They wanted to really iron all those wrinkles out, make sure that they could give the best tournament possible, and make sure that, you still have a couple of quits, seemingly you have 3 mulligans in a sense. So everything was really kept in mind, and I just really wanted to touch on that it's pretty solid that we had the Infinity Challenge, and then the next one, we really almost hit the nail on the head for this one. There's not much more refining that you could do in terms of a free-for-all tournament with online qualifiers. So I'm just really glad that being laid it out for us. They said, all the tiebreakers, almost like a sports league per se. So everything was listed extremely well, and we get to include all the different likes of the Halo community within that, whether it's Infinity or Rumble Pro or the competitive community as well. So it just looks like, yeah, they did a really good job kind of nailing that down and making sure that that everyone who's been playing Halo 4 recently really gets a shot at getting some prizes and potentially maybe that ultimate prize of 200,000. So pretty psyched about that. Oh, ooh, and then last but not least, the backing out of lobbies thing. That's pretty cool. That they fixed that. I know that they've been working like crazy trying to fix that, and that's really was the deal breaker, right, for this whole tournament, for any online tournament, is people asking, well, dude, what do people dash for to get backing out of lobbies, all that kind of stuff. Well, now that's not even is that not allowed, but if you do try and dash for it, you get counted as a quit. So they thankfully really got that one down before this tournament was released. I know that all of them have been working extremely hard, putting a lot of resources to getting that kind of ironed out. So yeah, I'm just like to see that we have the potential to throw such a massive tournament on the line with like all the kind of hurdles that we had set in place for us. We really got to the finish line pretty quickly here. So
Yeah, I didn't know they were actually doing that to matchmaking. That's awesome. That's going to make Throwdown even more enjoyable now. That's freaking sweet.
Not just yet. Not yet. It's not going to be on all the playlists. That's something that I haven't. So it's I believe, and this is just my own speculation. I believe that the reason that it'll work for this playlist is because it won't allow people that avid amount of time to back out from the game lobby. It's just going to put them right in. It's just going to catapult them into the game. They don't have a choice of voting. So I'm pretty sure that if we did want that for our players, that we would probably have to sacrifice the voting options. So not really something that, I don't know, it's kind of a 50-50 right there, right? So taking away people's choices versus giving the backing out of lobby. So it's, I don't know, again, that's just kind of my own take on it. I don't know if that's really what the case is or what it would be, but that's just speculation, so we'll see.
Right. Well, I'm hoping you guys learned something new there. I've seen a few people going wild on Twitter now saying, oh my god, backing out of lobbies. Da-da. So I'm hoping you've learned some new stuff there, and it's not just been the bulletin as well, it's been the advanced Back to Basics bulletin. So, I think we're pretty much done there. It's time to rock on with the main event of what is tonight. V4, VTM versus V5. Yeah. What I'll do is I'll give you a global rundown of the differences. Now, big credit to two boys off of the topmid.eu. One of them you will know quite well, Eric, I think, Mr. Vibe Septic, Rob, and also Mr. John Spurn. They have quite happily got their heads together, because they're very, very knowledgeable at the game and to do with the EU. They've got their heads together to give me a full list of what's been going on in regards to our settings in comparisons to yours, and also their thoughts on why we changed it. So we're going to get your thoughts, whether they're good or bad. Whether it's not an attack, Ghost, so anything that's in this, just take it lightheartedly, because us Britons were quite formal, and we'll just say it as it is, basically.
Well, to clear the air, I'm half English, so no worries.
Ah, look at that. Look at that. You see, I even wore an American-style jumper tonight, just in respect.
Nice.
Gary's always saying that I wear too many polos, so I actually wore something with some sort of representation to America for you. Look at
Thank you.
There you go.
Oh, you see. Got to please the guests. So, global differences then. We'll have a really quick rundown. This gives an idea. It kind of takes it away, but it gives you an idea of what changes we make and why. So, first of all, starting off, weapons, railgun. Railgun is non-existent in TM settings due to its inconsistencies. Quick notes. Host glitch when charging the weapon. It sometimes fires and it sometimes does not. Not showing up in the kill feed, and hit registration / bullet magnetism can lead to some very random occurrences.
Yeah.
Next one, scatter shot. The bolt shot is in place of the scatter shot on each map in V4, Simplex and Onyx. This is due to the weapon's randomness and inconsistencies to kill. Absolutely no ARs at all. No AR, no needlers, no suppressors, no storm rifles. Basically, this is from top, I'm not saying from top mid, but from the guys there who said this. Quick one. Lack of skill to use. More skill-based fights. What's happening without these on the maps? In depth. We're here to make the most competitive settings as possible by not having the spray and pray weapons in our rule set. There's a lot more skill battles happening in matches with precision weapons. Also, in our community, it does not have direct contact with 343. So, being asked to try out certain weapons, it would be a bit of an insult to use those over our settings when we're not kind of been asked. Again, just take these all with a bit of a pinch of salt. Yeah, so going down at the moment, global things, differences. Snipers set to dynamic timers. Quick note, no waypoint for weapon equals having time to skill it. Skill and knowledge apply, less ammunition because the sniper is already OP. Yep. In depth, this means two things. We can reduce the amount of bullets each sniper contains, and also removes the weapon indicator, stroke ordnance drop. We feel as the sniper is easy to use in Halo 4 in comparison to previous Halo games due to the bullet magnetism, player hitbox, and no D-scope. So we selected to lower the amount of ammunition in each sniper, only having one spare clip per sniper. Having these snipers and ordnance drops also reduces the... Having the snipers as an ordnance drop also reduces the amount of skill taking to time weapons, so that's out of the ordnance. As our settings are in Team Throwdown playlist, we don't need to appeal to the new players and help them to know where the weapons are. Also, if a player wanted to better themselves, they put the effort and time in to learn where the weapons spawn and when they spawn. So that's the general overview of the weapons.
Correct.
I'm not going to go to the differences in map because we can cover those as we go through the map. There's only two main differences really. So we're gonna jump into map by map. We're gonna start off with, we're gonna do our settings. There's only two different maps that you guys use that we do not, so I will say them at the end. But we'll start off with Onyx, Flag, and Slayer. Again, the only real changes on this was the weapons. We've taken off any ARs, any automatics. We've put on BRs and any other strong weapons that promote 4-shot battles. The one thing we do, I think possibly, Hamza, do you have the photo, Hamza? Could you put it up for the major change on the map? We're going to put a picture up on screen, guys, and show you what the EU has done. Let me know as soon as that comes up, Hamza. So what we've done is we've covered cover barriers added to top middle. You should see them now. Those cover barriers. Okay. This makes top middle a power position now. It also removes the lack of lustrous sprint for OS gameplay, as you can control top middle as a power point without constantly being in the open. Scatter shot again replaced with bolt shot. So that kind of gives you a more of a simplex power play position with a little bit of a barrier, so you don't die every time, and you can't just run straight for OS and die straight. You know, you can't just bolt out. You've got to take your time, take down the other team, and do something. And now it's actually takes skill and time to get to that, and you're not just going to die every time you're up there, and it's going to get it burnt down straight away. So, as opposed to the weapons, I'm going to pass this first of all over to Justin. Justin, I know you're a man who enjoys killing people top mid and always been there with the 10, 9, 8, getting ready for OS.
That's true.
What do you think? Having those barriers put up top mid and Onyx, what would that do for you, good or bad?
To be honest, I think that's actually a good thing. I think it looks, to be honest, like you can obviously, as you said, control top middle would be a lot easier, and it'd be a lot easier to get overshield. But at the same time, without those barriers, it's kind of fun to watch players like sprint from top green or top yellow to go try to snag overshield, and then just get lit up by some team that has a better team shot, or just they're all like placed in locations to make sure that someone doesn't get overshield. I would have to test it out, gameplay-wise to see how I'd play, but honestly, that kind of seems like a pretty good idea to me.
I've always said that top mid is always a definite power position, and it kind of promotes two good things in a gameplay. If you're a good team, I always revert back to Lockout in Halo 2. That for me was one of the maps that you could actually lock down, set up a strat, and you literally could lock it down. 1B3, 1B1, one in the library, and you could lock that down. For me, top mid is always like that. You're a good team that will utilize top mid and annihilate kids by using that power position. But it also promotes having the opposition has to be good and has to use work. It has to use teamwork to take down top mid and take it over. So I think personally, promoting that for me is good. Ghost, your thoughts on a barrier top mid?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to the creator of the map early on about obviously giving some sort of top middle control to it. We really wanted to mimic the matchup feel to it, but at the same time, because there was an overshield up there. We didn't want to necessarily just give easy cover to someone camping up there or sitting there. So we kind of wanted to make it a little bit different of a dynamic than Simplex, so that there wasn't really much cover to get across there. Therefore, kind of making it a very circular map versus versus Simplex, where you can kind of get control of top middle and kind of use it. So, not to say that I won't obviously talk to him about this potential change, because I do see Onyx sticking in for V5, so we are always open to new suggestions and whatnot. So if there is something like that we end up testing, and the general population or even the creator myself find it appealing in terms of gameplay as well as aesthetics, then you guys can definitely look forward to seeing that in there. But again, it's not. It wasn't so much that we do or don't want to give that point of control to top middle, as much as we just didn't want to give it too easy for Overshield to just kind of camp there. But again, it requires a lot more testing than it was given. So
yeah,
we'll see what's up.
Okay, and to move on to the weapon change then, I'm going to ask you again, start off for you, Pistola. Scatter shot, exchange for a bolt shot. What do you think to that one?
Well, I've always actually kind of liked that idea, but at the same time, we kind of need to have more dynamic weapons. Personally, I think that we need to use the weapons that 343 gave us, just because we're trying to create, as you said, universal settings. Like, the most important thing is to unite all gaming companies together and try to make a universal setting that everyone can play on, out of the box. Usually that's how it should be. That's why Halo 2 was so fun to go into Halo 2. You go into team doubles and you'd be playing the same setting as team hardcore. That's why I really like this 4-shot update. That's why having scatter shots important, but also using the bolt shots important too. But the scatter shot, in my opinion, is not that overpowered, and it's not too inconsistent, especially on LAN. Scatter shots, powerful on LAN. If you use it correctly, you should get 5 kills with it if you use it correctly. But it's almost impossible to use it correctly, because if you're playing against a good team, they can 4-shot you so easily, especially on LAN. So personally, I like the scatter shot, just because the map's already so small and that's the only power weapon. So I'd rather, if you're a team that can control the scatter shot, it's obviously a better thing than controlling the bolt shot. The bolt shot's not nearly as strong as a scatter shot. And you already have an overshield, which is a power up, and then scatter shot is a power weapon. I think that complements each other really well, because if you run into an overshield guy with a bolt shot, he's going to kill you. No doubt about it. The reason the scatter shot's there is to take out the whole overshield and potentially kill him.
Correct.
It's to balance it out.
This is what we like to hear. Good discussional debate. Ghost, are you just agreeing with that, or do you have any more?
No, definitely I do agree with the majority of the points that Pistola said. Obviously, that's what the scatter shot is in place for. It's to give it a little bit of a dynamic, as well as the neither. Both weapons are in there to kind of counter the overshield, as well as just add another element to the standard battle rifle and grenades type of gameplay. But then on top of that, something that you also have to realize is that the scatter shot is used in, it's been used in a numerous amount of times in all the playlists, whether it's on ordnance or non-ordnance, in personal ordnance, whatever the case may be. It's always been very, very frequently used in Halo 4. So with that said, I felt that it would be obviously another big kind of segue into our game types is, obviously including the scatter shot. Also, it looks extremely awesome. The aesthetics of it are really cool as well. The whole D-Res effect, and also just the noise of it, how it kind of the Forerunner object it gets put together. It's very spectator friendly. So and it also works in its intended range. Especially on land. So that's definitely the reason. The main ones being the ones that Justin said, but there's a ton of little added frosting on the side that comes with the scatter shot. So, yeah.
And Pistola, what do you think? Would you prefer? Do you ever use a needler? Would you prefer to have a BR ammo on there, or another weapon like a right rifle or something like that?
Well, the cool thing about Halo, and the reason I started playing Halo, is that all the choices you can make is what made it so exciting. Oh, can I pick up this needler? Oh, can I pick up this? Oh, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go there. So having the needler on there gives players another choice, and it changes the game. That's why, and not a lot of pro players, since I play against a lot of pro teams. I scrimmed last night against BTH and Infamous, and I ran into a needler guy 2 times. So a lot of pro players don't pick it up. But at the same time, it gives them an option to. If there was a battle rifle there, that wouldn't even give someone an option. It's just pick up ammo. Whenever you're already killing an opponents on Onyx, to be picking up battle rifle ammo and being pretty much full ammo the whole game. If you run out of ammo on Onyx, then you're just being a stationary player laying shots down the whole entire game.
Holding it down.
Yeah.
Just to jump in there, Adam, you got something on the scat shot, pal?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that kind of the bolt shot when the Halo 4 was first out was really quite overpowered, and everyone had it in their loadout. And now it's been toned down a lot, and I've used the bolt shot on LAN since the update, and it's nowhere near as good as it used to be. And it's more like a puny weapon, and it's really short range. But every time I jump into matchmaking, scatter shot is really powerful. I'm not just saying this, but it's a good weapon to use. But yeah, I think more people ignore the bolt shot than pick it up, to be honest.
Yeah, I've noticed that. On Abandon, they have 2 bolt shots down on the map, and no one ever gets them. No one ever picks up the bolt shots anymore, which is strange to me, because it used to be used so much, especially because you could spawn with
Same
it.
thing on Skyline as well, and then also Simplex. When you spawn on the right side of your base, there's that bolt shot right there. Not a lot of people pick those up yet. They still work. I don't know why.
It's mostly just because as soon as the 4-shot came out, I think people just obsessed with using the BR now, because the kill time's so fast, and if you position yourself correctly, you should be able to kill a bolt shot guy with a BR. That's I'm more confident in my BR because I've spawned with it and I use it all the time than I'd be with the bolt shot that I pick up occasionally.
Correct.
Okay, guys, I forgot to say, if you have any questions whatsoever, either on each map or at the end when we speak to Ghost and Pistola just one-on-one, if you have any questions whatsoever, please at Slinky on Twitter. You can see his tag there. At him, tell him the question. He's going to jot them all down. While his mic's and his connection isn't too bad, he's going to be really useful in the background with the Twitter. So if there's anything you want to ask regarding, if you want to ask something about a map, at him, space, then put the map name, then space, then your question. Or if it's to do with settings, again, settings, space. Or if it's for any of the questions for the guys here, fire away. We need questions for the end, because I don't think this is going to last too long, so we're going to start firing through these now. Harry, do you have anything to add to that before we leave that?
Yeah, just quickly on the subject of Onyx. In the top mid settings, we use Onyx as a flag map as well.
Yes.
How viable is that for V5 that you're going to use Onyx?
For V5, I'm actually I want to have as many different game types as possible. So I'm looking to obviously include more of disc maps, obviously like the pit and maybe even vertigo, but also looking to include maybe some asymmetricals if we can get those going as well. But really what that leads into is that I only have so many spots to fill up, so I might end up having, maybe only one capture the flag between Simplex and Onyx and one team slayer between Simplex and Onyx. So right now I'm leaning towards, and this isn't, it's not a hard lean, but I'm leaning more towards Onyx CTF and Simplex team slayer. I'm not really too sure how everyone would really take that. If they feel that Onyx team slayer is the better of the two team slayers, and then maybe Simplex is the better of the CTFs. But we have been very, very accustomed to these symmetrical maps inverse symmetrical maps are really just circular maps, arena circular style maps. And it's time that we have some changes up. Obviously, a lot of people know how great Halo 1 and Halo 2 were, and a lot of those maps were asymmetrical. And then Halo 3 was a lot more symmetrical maps, so we're going to see what we can kind of include here. But with that said, feel free, obviously, to hit up the teambeyond.net forums, kind of let me know what you guys would rather see, whether it's, CTF on Simplex or Onyx, or Team Slayer on Simplex or Onyx, whichever one you guys would rather see. And again, it's not a definite. I'm not saying that one will replace the other and that we only will have two. But again, that is something that I am considering, so that we can have more game types and more maps and all that kind of stuff, because we all know that all those new things keep everything fresh. So trying to keep it fresh for everyone.
Also, I would actually like to test Onyx CTF out a little bit. I think that'd be good.
Oh yeah, it would be a lot of testing
Because-
for sure.
Because we might have to change the map around. I'm trying to think of a flag route that would be good. Like, obviously, maybe running bottom gold or bottom green. It'd be really hard to run it.
In A4D you're playing, Adam, where do you guys run the flag?
It's kind of similar to Midship, I guess, or Heretic if you played Halo 3. If you kill them at, say, green side, you just run it gold. Usually bottom or top. It just depends. There's no crazy runs. Like, you don't run it like courtyard and then try and jump it up like up to OS or anything. You just pretty much take it straight. You can usually use the jump ups pretty well in front of the bases and just jump the flag straight in. But there's no crazy route. Just run opposite.
Yeah, from what I can think about, thinking about thinking about a CTF on Onyx would be probably running it either bottom green or bottom gold, depending on where you kill them at. As you said,
yeah,
it'd be a very straightforward route. And the reason I like Simplex is because it reminds me of kind of like Onslaught in a way. You can get in their base and can actually control their base and kill them while they're spawning in their base, so you can spawn kill them. And also, if you kill them, gold side of their base, they're most likely going to spawn pink side of their base. It all really depends on how it plays, because I don't know. Onyx is a really small map for CTF. Like say they spawn, say you run flag bottom gold and they spawn bottom green or at green 2, they can just sprint to your base.
Yeah, correct.
And it's hard to spawn trap, probably on Onyx. I mean, I think it'd be a good game type, but as I said, I'd probably have to test it out to see how it is before anything official.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's the other thing is that a lot of people are probably going to be, there's curious to see whether or not Pit or all these other maps or how long I'm going to wait to release V5. Well, it really is going to be as long as it takes to test. Right now we have a certain standard of maps and everything that we have got in there, and they play extremely well. And so I'm not just going to throw in another map without thoroughly testing it at least a week or two, maybe more than that, just to make sure that it's fair for a competitive play and there's not going to be any absurd spawns or any inconsistencies that would be game breaking. So we definitely have to make sure that everything kind of hits a certain standard now. So it might be a little bit later than sooner. That's all.
Yeah, and bringing up back to the Onyx CTF thing, think of a Skyline CTF. That map is bigger than Onyx, and it's still hard to cap flags because people will spawn, needle side, and they'll just run up your DMR ramp and be able to get in your base. So you have to have your communication has to be on top form just to make sure they're not in your base, and you have to be in good positions. So Onyx, to be honest, Onyx CTF could be a really good team game. You need to be on point to cap a flag.
Yeah.
The thing with Onyx is that there's only 3 real places they can spawn. They can spawn in their basement on the flag, spawn gold. The thing green spawns is they spawn in the bubble, so you only need to sprint maybe 2 or 3 feet to get into a bit of cover. Whereas if you spawn at gold, you're sort of up the ramp slightly, and you can just get melted so much by the team. So and running it green is a lot easier, so that they force to be spawned gold because it's funny up. But yeah, it definitely needs a lot of testing because
you have a lot of cover at green too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was going to say if you're standing at least on their side of gold, watching basement or trying to watch window, they can spawn gold one right below you, and that's obviously our spawns or settings or whatever. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of testing needs to be done to make it anywhere decent. So.
But good thing is I trust Eric. He's really good at placing spawns. He'll be able to make the map work.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. In terms of spawns, we'll always figure that stuff out before we put it into the next playlist. So no worries.
Okay, so I think I would usually go to any change for V5, but I think you've pretty much nailed it on the head there at the end. So we'll jump straight on. Right, guys, if anyone has just joined us, by the way, if you could do us a favour, you could tweet the stream. We want to see, we're aiming for 400 viewers. We're on 197 now. I'm sure we can do it if we all pitch in together. Also, if you see below, you see the little donations page. Topmid.eu, we're going for a zone streaming system so we can stream all our European competitions. Anything you can spare, cents, dollars, euros, whatever, anything you can just chip in to help us out, it's appreciated. We'd love it, and we thank you very much. Any questions? Tweet at SLJ, is it? KNY? There we go, yep. Tweet Mr. Slinky, his name's on there. Give him a tweet. tell him what it's about, map, or a question for the people, and then give him the question, and he's going to say them and rack them up. So, moving on. Map 2, Simplex. EU settings, we play Flag and Slayer. There's no real, apart from the global ones that we actually mentioned before, with the weapon changes, there's no real changes to Simplex as such, except taking off, again, any automatics, anything like that. Okay, so Ghost, taking away all the ARs and putting on light rifles and BRs, getting rid of all the automatics. What do you think?
I mean, really, how I feel about it is that the automatics are certainly something that we have to always recognize. I mean, in previous games such as Halo 1, Halo 2, I mean, we always had automatics. We might have played with no duels for a little bit there, but at the end of the day, people that still over here eating those grits. People that this guy. Obviously, people that have those certain weapons that they love. You know, with Halo 4, everyone really starts out with the loadouts, right? There's not really that many forced loadouts like we've had in the past, so everyone can choose their weapon. So when they come into our playlist, it still would be nice to kind of give people obviously the choice to use those weapons, or really to use anything that they possibly can, as long as it isn't game breaking. And that's why we're going to include as many weapons as possible, i.e. the scatter shot and the bolt shot, and even the storm rifle and the suppressors, because now not only are they viable weapons, but they also have a little bit buff, but the aim adhesion has been brought down, so they take a little bit more skill. So
on a map like Simplex, where it's you can see straight across and it's very open, do they really work for that map as such?
So that's the thing, right? Is that people want to say, oh, wait, when am I going to use this weapon on this map? But in reality, if you take the time to not only pick it up, but then use it at the right time, which is probably in close quarters combat, or to pull it out on unsuspecting victims, so to speak, that is skillful, and you kind of catch a guy off guard rather than having to go for a 2-shot beatdown or take a 4-shot. I know some of those weapons kill insanely fast if you can catch them off guard. And it also helps your team a little bit too, like if with how quick an assault rifle takes down a shield or suppressor or storm rifle, all those weapons take a certain amount of skill and a certain niche in a sense. So yeah, they are more spray and pray than a precision rifle, but at the same time, the aim adhesion has been brought down a significant amount to where I think that it actually does take someone who has a decent amount of hand-eye coordination to get those kills, rather than in the past when it was just extremely magnetized. So
just a spray and pray.
Yeah.
Okay. Justin, then obviously it sounded like you were a fan of the scatter shot. Removal of the scatter shot and put in of a bolt shot in place of it. Thoughts on that one?
That sounds worse than Onyx, just because Simplex is such a big map, and it has overshield on it as well. You only have 4 shots, or 5. Is it 5 shots, Eric? In the clip?
5 shots. 5 shots.
Yeah, 5 shots. Very simple. Just, I approve of the scatter shot. I don't approve of the shotgun. We tested out the shotgun for a little while.
Yeah, shotgun was ridiculous.
It's just not fair. And the bolt shot's too weak now. And I think the scatter shot's just right on point. And what Eric was saying earlier, like with the automatic weapons, there's 3 things automatic weapon, or 2 things automatic weapons does, and there's just another thing I want to say about it. Number 1, like we've seen automatic weapons as Halo 1, you automatically spawn with an assault rifle. So number 1, there's that, and then also it gives you callouts on maps. That's why I like to have so many. I don't know. That's like on every map, Eric puts a weapon on the map just for that callout. Like on Skyline, you have needlers, and then you have carbine. And it's been like that since back in the day in every Halo game. That's why weapons are placed on map for callouts. And as I said earlier, choices gives you players different options, and you can play your play style. Like say you pick up an assault rifle and you go into their base on Simplex and you're camping, and you're like, all right, I know they're spawning pink side, and you just killed them gold side, so I'm gonna camp right here because I know one's probably gonna run out, and I'll have a higher chance of killing them because I have an assault rifle and I'm this close. So it just kind of gives it a different dynamic, and I personally like having more choices on a map.
Okay.
Adam, if it's balanced.
Adam, A4D, thoughts on a bolt shot over a scatter shot?
Like I touched on earlier, I guess I can't really speak for my whole team, but I'll do it anyway. Yeah, I prefer the scatter shot. The bolt shot before the update was good, but now it's too weak, and I don't know. I think the scatter shot overall is a decent weapon, and I know we're trying to push for the whole universal rule set so that everyone can identify with it. But I think scatter shot more than bolt shot, to be honest. That's just like personal preference, and I mean, how cool was it when you first saw Halo 4 and like Master Chief picked up the scatter shot and it done the whole thing with the Forerunner, like it all built up the weapon, and that still happens when you pick it up the first time on the map. So yeah, I think it's good, feels good, plays good. So yeah.
Okay.
Coming back to sort of automatics and sort of needlers on the map. On maps like Skyline, I'm going to talk about the needler here. I don't really see any reason for it. I can identify it on maps like Simplex. I don't think there's a needler on Simplex, but say there's an overshield on the map, and you pick up a needler, you start shooting this overshield guy, and it becomes a skillful weapon, a situational weapon. Whereas on maps like Skyline, where you have the needler, and other maps, I think Haven, you don't have an overshield, whereas we do, and we'll get to that later on. You have needlers, but there's no overshield, so it kind of seems almost like a pointless weapon. I mean, I know you said about.
But at the same time, you don't feel that it technically fills the middle to kind of long range niche, because obviously if you get caught off guard in close range quarters with it, it is obviously pretty much useless. I think we can all agree there that you have to have post and impeccable aim to use a needler in close range. But with that said, catching a guy kind of off guard on Red or Blue Street on Haven, or on Skyline, catching a guy, off guard at one of the DMRs or the needler, that, gets a quick kill, and then also allows you to use your BR and still have a full clip. So I feel like it still does have it's certain skill points, even though it isn't against necessarily an overshield. It does have kind of a certain niche where you could use it, but again, if you use it at the wrong time and you get caught off guard with it, you're going to get dominated. So yeah, I think it has a balance in as well.
Okay then. I think we're just about wrapped up on that map. Is there anything else we need to fire through on that one? Or are we all good? Okay, then final question then. Ola, Ghost, anything you'd like to see on Simplex for V5?
Something, so then, obviously, I guess just to touch on what you guys talked about, the railgun, those are definitely some problems that I've agreed with for a while now. Ninja, I know, has brought them to my attention multiple times. Obviously, I don't know how close 343 is to fixing them, or if they are going to fix them. But with that said, in V5, I will look towards replacing some of the railguns or maybe even the sticky detonator on Skyline with the concussion rifle. It's a weapon that I've liked since even my testing phases before V1 was released, but it is a little bit unfriendly to the competitive side in terms of aesthetics and also of its past history. But now in Halo 4, it is a viable option for our settings. It takes skill to use, and definitely more skill, in my opinion, than the railgun, and it doesn't have the flaws that the railgun does. So kind of look out for that in the future for V5. We might, see it replace the railgun on Simplex or Haven or Sticky Dead on Skyline. And it also, the cool thing about the concussion rifle is that not only does it take skill to use, but you can also use it for like jumps and stuff like that, like kind of like nade jumps, but actually concussion jumps in a way. So that's pretty cool as well. So.
You know what? I'm just going to throw this out here because I'm seeing a lot of things. Guys in the stream, 1 for a concussion, 2 for no. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Let's see what people say. I want to see on this one because it's a big debate.
Yeah, they don't know yet. Wait until you guys use it. You'll see.
We're seeing hard to... twos. Oh, it's ones. Oh, there's a lot. It's
you guys use it, more than the railgun, trust me.
So you can't knock it until you try. I mean, there's certain things obviously that you can knock before you try it, but I mean, you gotta at least test it out before you say no.
Yeah, it's quite split. To be honest with you, it's interesting.
Well, I agree with the railgun. It's too inconsistent. The host thing, the kill feed, all these other things. But and online it makes it so inconsistent because you'll be running behind a wall and the thing will just curve and it'll hit the wall, but it'll hit you because on their screen it hits you, but on your screen you're hiding behind the wall. It just overall makes just competitive play kind of for me. I'd prefer to have a different weapon than the railgun. To be honest, if you watch my stream, because I'm streaming tonight, watch my stream on Simplex. I don't even pick up the railgun. It'll spawn, and I'll stand pink 2 and bait it and wait for someone to charge it on their team and kill them for going for the railgun. Because I don't like to. I trust myself with the BR than with the railgun.
It's quite. You've caused quite a stir there, Go, saying that one. I must say, it's interesting to see what people are saying. Right. Okay. I think. Are you guys clear on that one? Are we good? Anything else to add on Simplex? No. Yes. No.
Well, just quickly, guys, do you have any kind of idea? Is there going to be a V5 Simplex? Is the map going to change at all? Have you spoken to? Is it Salot that makes that map?
Yeah, so how does make the map? I don't think that we're going to really change anything going into the next one. I think that we're kind of set with how it looks. I haven't heard any complaints or any people give really any crazy ideas looking into V5 whatsoever. So I think that we're kind of set on this layout. I mean, if people do have any complaints, feel free to let your voice be heard. But as of now, I think we're good.
I don't really want this to be changed, but this is the only thing I can think that could potentially be changed, and that'd be top middle. Something different on top middle. I don't know what, just something. Just because a lot of people like change, like just because it's fresh and new. So like if we maybe made a little change to top middle, people would go like, oh cool, this is a cool little new thing. I want to play this.
Yeah, for sure.
So long as there's still enough room to watch people doing backward jumps and ninja in OS, I'll be happy with that one, as we saw last week.
I just can't wait. I just hope in Halo 5 or whatever the new Halo is going to be called, you can burn OS again.
Yeah.
Because, especially, well, if they have sprint. I don't know. I don't know anything about the new Halo. But, like, in this game, it's so frustrating having a guy with sprint just sprint right at overshield, and you're just like, in Halo 3, you'd be so punished right now. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, man, this guy gets overshield because he's fast. But
I was actually going to say, dude, I've seen people burn OS sometimes. Like I don't know how it happens. They run towards it and they die on it, and it's like a glitch as if they somehow pick it up as they die. Like if that actually happened,
like simultaneously. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Like, I think if you're one shot, you shouldn't get overshield. Like, you should burn it. That's how I feel. I just don't like how people can just sprint. I mean, that's how Halo 4 is played, and you have to get used to it. But like I've always liked the idea of burning overshields or having no sprint, either one, depending on if sprint's in the game.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people asking about sprint. We're going to get to that one at the end, guys. Do not worry. Mr. Diesel has implored me to say something about it, so I will do.
Oh my goodness.
Oh dear Lord, what's going on there?
Okay, moving on. Map number 3, Dispatch. Okay, the EU settings place all 3 on this one. We play Slayer, Extraction, and Flag. So the main things that we spoke about before, let me drop down to the snipers. Again, it's obviously they're not, first of all, they're not in the ordnance because we don't like people getting them on ordnance. We need them to time it specifically. So let me just bring up my notes again. 1 second. I have lost them. Where have they gone? Snipers, there we go. So they're on dynamic timers, both of them. Yeah, I think this is probably the biggest change. Ola, what do you think about kids not being able to get a sniper for free and they have to actually work, time, and set up to get a sniper when it spawns rather than having one given to them in an ordnance drop?
I mean, I'm all down for more competitive settings. Obviously, that'd make the game more competitive. But at the same time, I'm used to playing on what I got so far, But at the same time, I'm not really a big fan of the 2 snipers on Dispatch with all the ammo that they have because I have 2 of the best snipers on my team. And, like, I don't even have fun on Dispatch sometimes because they know the spawn so well that they're just spawn sniping people. And I'm just kind of like, all right, well, I'll go pull flag and just run it because I'm not killing anybody. But, like, I've talked to Ghost about this before. My preferred Dispatch would be taking overshield off top middle and moving it to green or yellow sticks and then having only 1 sniper, green or yellow sticks. So at the beginning of the game, players have to make a choice on what they want to push.
Yes, and something that we talked about as well is obviously that is if we did have Dispatch in the next iteration of the V settings, the V5 settings, I would most likely take that route. However, I do feel that for gameplay purposes as well as spectator purposes, it is necessary to have dual sniper gameplay where we have two snipers kind of doing off, whether it's pit or whether it's another map that ends up really kind of filling that niche. I feel that it's imperative because Adrift right now has very few lines of sight, so we might just see Dispatch getting taken out altogether. But again, that's just because we need to kind of have everything tested with these game types. So if we take out a dual sniper game type, then we should really try and replace it with a dual sniper game type, not just the kind of one sniper overshield combo. And I feel that Dispatch, it's a great map, but it's also nice to have new fresh maps coming in the rotation as much as possible. So see what happens.
Including on Dispatch has so many open angles, including the glass walls or windows, whatever you want to call them. You pretty much can see anybody on the map from anywhere. And having two snipers on that game type makes it extremely hard to push and be sneaky. That's why a Drift 2 snipers works. There's not enough line of sight. It pretty much reminds me of a gigantic version of Countdown, where the way that you can win, the only way that you can actually play that game type well is if you push together as a team and just try to stay together as much as possible, because there's no way you're going to be in a random like top middle and be able to help somebody lift haul. There's not a line of sight, as Eric was saying. So that's why two snipers works on Drift so well.
Okay, well, further to that one then, I'll let you carry on with this one, Ola. Some of our players, the best way to sum it up is, if you get rockets, if you're a very good player, that will be a minimum of 4 kills right there. You will make everyone count and maybe even get double kills, triple kills, even more with one rocket. So that's 4 guaranteed kills, okay? If you get a sniper, how would you feel about saying that's the exact same way? So every bullet you're potentially going to get a headshot with. So it's an OP weapon. You're going to use that. Someone like Mr. Snipe Down on your team, he will go for every single headshot and make every bullet count and go for every single headshot he can. How do you feel about lowering the ammunition like we do to the one clip?
To be honest, I've actually liked that idea.
Yeah?
That idea, I mean, it was like that in Halo Reach. It's a cool idea, especially because it's so easy to snipe in this game. But at the same time, it's hard to judge that just because we're trying to make the casuals play the same game that we're playing. And if we keep making these changes, like our sniper has less ammo than the sniper that you get in matchmaking,
and the other thing is that
separate our communities, and that's not good. Go ahead, Eric.
And the other thing is that the main reason being is that in Halo 4 there isn't really many weapons on map. We just saw I guess a week or two ago, Quinn De Hoya thankfully put on weapons on map a lot more than they haven't been in the past. So I've been trying to kind of bridge that gap for everyone, and also we have our own maps, we have our own settings. So for anyone really joining the playlist, I mean, it's it's seemingly impossible for them to just learn these weapons off the start and feel like they can actually hold their ground. And in the past Halos, we had a similar transition from Team Slayer to the hardcore players or Team Slayer to MLG players, but in this game, it's very, very different. So I felt that it is necessary, especially when we changed up the weapon location so many times. We never really had a set spot for all the weapons, so I felt that it was necessary that we had these ordinances on the map so that people really had the nav points and had an idea of where they were going. And it is a small skill set to obtain, but it is also one of the most basic ones at that. Timing weapons very not too necessary. And the main reason that I felt that it was this way is I played in the Big Team Battle tournament at one point, and they didn't have any other weapons on ordinances, and we got, we not only were going to get manhandled regardless, just because of the weapon skill that they possessed, and whether it was a Spartan laser or the whatever weapons they were using, or the vehicles that they had, that type of skill, but not knowing where any of these things spawned, you just felt completely, just out of it, right? And we're going into this entire map with tons of pro players, and we just come out of it getting absolutely thrashed. Now, I'm not saying that that's something that because I lost, I feel that it's necessary to put these things on the map. No, that's not the case whatsoever. However, it's just an easy way to get people interested in your maps, to get them familiar with their maps or your maps, because we have Haven, but we have different layouts. We finally now have Sniper in the bottom of the ramp. We know that that's going to spawn there. Great, but does everyone know that that's going to spawn there? No. So Until we kind of have these things established, I feel that it's necessary that we have that little indicator over there and give that extra those extra 4 bullets, so that it's worth the newcomers for that the extra 4 bullets that Snipe Down's gonna get, in my opinion.
Okay then. Before we move on to the final question regarding dispatch, guys, in the Twitter chat, in the Twitch chat, as Ola mentioned first about the initial settings, press 1 for 1 sniper, press 2 for 2 snipers. I want to see what everyone thinks of that one, while I ask you guys the second question, which is, what changes would you both like to see for V5, if any? Ola, Ghost, how much do you guys?
I zoned out really hard. I'm just watching all the numbers, so I don't know what the question was.
And see, in fact, again, it's kind of split again, isn't it? Genuinely, there's a lot of 1s. There's a few 2s here and there. I think the general consensus is 1 for 1. Oh, and then we see a 0 for remove dispatch.
just get it out of here. We don't want it.
Okay. Well, we'll go back to that question then, guys. Any changes you'd like to see for V5? Go, Ola.
Well, I say let Ghost answer this first because he has ideas, and then I'll just jump in.
Yeah. So with dispatch, we already kind of know that it's been around for quite some time now. So what I like to do is I'd like to introduce a dual sniper gameplay. I'd like to kind of use this, I guess this show for now as a shout out to all the forgers out there watching. If you guys would like to construct some type of dual sniper CTF map, now's your chance. I can't say that it's definitely going to get in. I can't say that I'm definitely going to put a forge map in place of dispatch. But if there's ever a chance for it to be getting in, this is really the time. I want to include a map that, and again, hopefully you guys are a little bit of a contest, so to speak. Maybe your map can get into throwdown. Include your include some natural terrain, include some of the crazy terrain as well. The whether it's the Onyx look or the Impact look, whatever you want to look. But probably try and make it on Forge Island. Use some of those natural pieces. I'd really like to see something come out of that. But again, yeah, we do have Pitfall on the way. We do have a couple other maps on the way, so it's not necessarily going to get in, but there is a high chance that I will be testing a bunch of those maps, so feel free to check it out.
So just on that one then, would you not be willing to, and this, Ola, you can say on this one as well, by all means, would you not be willing to look at APK Sank remake then? Oh,
What?
someone's mic broke.
Is there a buzzing or no?
Yeah, that's gone now.
That's good now.
I says,
Okay.
would you be willing to, in that instance, then, if you're looking at a dual sniper map, would you not be willing to take a look at APK's Sanctuary?
In terms of Sanctuary, I actually did want to take a look at that, but at the same time, Sanctuary's kind of been beaten to death in a way. We had it in the past titles. It's been in Halo 2, and Halo Reach and all that kind of stuff. So I feel that it's kind of been played a little too much. And I think that we could have a Sanctuary-inspired map, such as North Lane. I know that K25 made a really nice map there. We're going to test that one out. So there are a bunch of cool maps that we could have, but I think it's kind of hopefully nice to get some fresh new maps in here. When I talk about remakes, people might say, oh, well, what about the Pit, though? You guys say that, Pit's been beaten to death. Well, it might have been beaten to death in some remakes in terms of Forge remakes and in Halo Reach because it was played for so long, but we actually have a developer-made remake. It's like when Mitchup got reinvented in Heretic and what have you. It's a lot easier to use something that isn't a Forge remake because it's actually scaled to size as well as aesthetically pleasing, rather than Pit, which has been not the most aesthetically pleasing map when it's been remade in Forge, right? And then also it doesn't really work too well either. So I'm kind of hoping that Certain Affinity did a good job there and came out with a nice one for us.
Okay then. All right then. We will. I think we're going to wrap it up there. So we're going to move on to the next map. Just before we do move on, guys, if you could do us all a favour, if you could tweet the stream out to everybody. We're aiming for 400 to peak at. I think we've got to 280, 290 so far. So we're hoping to try and hit the 400 mark, which is my best thing. The other thing is, you'll see below, you see the top mid.eu donations. Any change, anything you can, I'm always going to push it. I'm sorry, I know I said I won't beg, but anything you can donate to the EU to get a streaming set up as good as AGL's would be fantastic. So, moving on now, we have, well, you guys probably won't like this. It'll be good to, I despise this next thing, and I'm begging for it to be taken. Well, it's not even in. We're going to move on to a map called Element. Now, Element is actually an unofficial map at the moment in the EU. We are looking for 2 of the maps because we don't play Abandoned and we don't play the other one beginning with A, which I completely forgot, Adrift. So this is a map that we are testing out at the moment to see how it is. Element currently is a flag-only game. I personally can't stand it. I think it's awful. I think the spawns are terrible. I hope it dies, burns, and never comes back. But I'm still going to get your guys... Have you played Element, you guys?
I have never played it. Is it like the one in Halo Reach at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The exact same one? I don't like it already. Just because you have sprint like off spawn, it just doesn't seem like it's gonna work. I loved Element Halo Reach. I thought it was awesome, but I don't know. It had to be made for. It had to be a bigger scale map for sprint for it to work for me.
I'll just correct myself there. Septic's correcting me. We're not actually testing it. We're looking to get rid of it. We are looking for another map to swap with it. So if there is something else you guys can potentially say would be a good replacement for that, on the back of that, then.
Well,
this is a flag map.
So one of the main things that I wanted to touch on in this show was definitely just how we use disc maps, and why, obviously there's the split screen issue of that, because once we do have over 72 teams at any tournament, it's going to be really necessary for us to, use split screen maps, those being, Slayer, CTF, Slayer, so there's going to be CTFs that are used. So right now, we are fortunate enough to have 2 of those maps, those being Adrift and Skyline, and then hopefully Pit will get added to that roster. So that's another huge thing that we kind of have to really strive for, right, is to have not only disc maps so that we can have more teams in the future and have split screen and all that kind of stuff, but also it's familiar with the Halo 4 population. Everyone plays Adrift, everyone knows what that is, and also everyone plays Skyline, everyone knows what Skyline is. So, and those maps also are aesthetically pleasing. They look good on behalf of the developer, rather than saying that we have a playlist full of community-made maps. We can go and say that, we figured out how to use these maps in competitive play rather than giving up on them. Because, I mean, in reality, these maps actually are pretty solid. It's really the spawn system that kind of gives us trouble with all these maps. Abandon was plagued by that spawn system for quite some time, and now we finally got that figured out. So with that, moving into Adrift and all these other maps, I actually have a spawn system that I'm going to be implementing. I've been working hard alongside Shuffling Greenie and also K25, really making sure that we get some new spawns here so that they're a little bit more fair, a little bit more consistent, and not obviously as random as far away as you guys used to spawn, kind of. So. So stay tuned for some testing and all that kind of stuff, but it is really nice to go ahead and say that, we not only use the developer maps, but maps that people are familiar with, rather than having to really teach all of our newcomers to any of these new maps, either whether or not they're a Reach remake from our MLG community or not. It's huge to have the disc maps in.
Well, so there's 2 questions just come in there. Redemption saying, impossible place of those 2. We have Orion and Select. Personally, I've never played either of them. A lot of people saying Orion's quite a good map. Thoughts on that one, first of all?
Orion, I believe, is the Construct inspired remake. It is, again, another map that I've been looking into testing. I haven't started testing maps just yet, so we are going to be looking into testing a bunch of maps and kind of see how everything works out there. We got to get the spawns going and all the weapons and all that kind of stuff, but we will be testing out kind of a bunch of different ones. So with that said, there are going to be certain spots we need to fill up, right? Like, again, I said the dual sniper CTF map is something I'm looking to fill up in a slot. And also with Station 9, I'm looking to fill up potentially another spot for that in place of that, not for 100%, but a map that could kind of duke out Station 9 for extraction. Maybe it's Vertigo, the new disc map that we saw in part of the Champions bundle. So don't, get too alarmed, but again, there is a couple of maps or game types on the chopping block, so to speak, and we can see some new ones replacing those as long as the testing goes well.
Okay. So. And a quick one in from Mr. Snapdown himself. He says, I don't know if you can answer this or if this is even plausible, did Ghost find out whether 343 can force confuse a forged map together to work in one go?
Oh, in terms of now the fusing, I actually asked about that. I asked this weekend. I was like, hey, so something I've been wondering for quite some time is if I just give you guys a map in Forge, can you just like, just make it into one giant piece? And I forget. I think it was I forget which person it was. It might have been BS Angel. Someone turned to me and said, Eric, we wish that there was some magic button that we could hit that would forge everything into one piece and give you spit out a perfect new map. But unfortunately, we do not have that technology. So I understand where they're coming from. We wish that we could have all these forge maps being used for split screen, but in Halo 4 and I guess in the Halo series so far, we have not seen any of that really being used to our advantage. So maybe in the future Halo series, we'll see Forge maps split screen capable, but for now, we're just gonna have to settle with that type of a problem, I suppose.
And everyone's now ripping me in the stream because it's not actually Snipe Down, it's Snipe Clown. So I'm now gonna stop saying names and just move on. Okay then, Justin, for a replacement for us for Element, what would you use as a flag map? Any ideas what we should use? Or should we go back to? Dare I say it, Adrift? Should we go back to Adrift?
Honestly, that's the best option right now, just so we can get universal settings. And random fours, it's hard to play Adrift because a lot of people, they're not thinking about, how can we win as a team? They're thinking, can I get sniper and go plus 20? So, like, whenever you're actually scrimming, I think, like, top teams playing each other, I think Adrift's actually a really good map. As long as you're working together as a team, it's fun. Like, I don't like playing it unless I'm playing with my teammates, usually.
Okay. Eric, your thoughts on us going back to Adrift? Would you like, obviously, you would like to see us do it, but...
Yeah, for obviously numerous reasons, but again, I was actually having a talk with Pistola yesterday. I showed him a little... And I don't want to say strategy, but I showed him just an idea that I had, just about how the map hasn't really evolved to its full potential yet. We've only played a couple months on it, not even a full year, and there's a lot of things that people don't use or use to their advantage. And so I'm looking to see some new strategies unfold on it, and I don't like to say that it's going to break the map per se, but we can see some new things kind of come out that could potentially just make it, getting taken off. And that's not I'm not saying that I'm gonna wait until that happens, so to speak. But there are a couple of crazy tactics that we could kind of see used in the future that would render the game type, like it could be just a little bit. I don't know how to explain it, but just unfair in a sense. We were talking about how you can move around the map, and we might have to see some weapon changes and that kind of stuff. But for now, I'm just really waiting to see how people use it. Kind of same thing with the ordinances. I knew that they were going to be used at a certain time, waiting to see those kind of unfold, and then they ultimately did, and that's kind of how I see Adrift as well. So
let me ask you this, by the way. This is just a simple question of Ghost. Let me ask you if you think this should be illegal. You know how you can jump into the flag guy while he's lifting over and knock him off the map?
Yeah.
Do you think that should be legal? Or should that be illegal?
I mean, I think that's a pretty smart play, you know what I mean?
It is definitely a smart play. Wait, like one time we went to matchmaking. One time I went to matchmaking, and I forgot who we were playing, but I knocked the flag off twice, and the second time I accidentally knocked his teammate off the map too when he had rockets. and we won 2-0. They had two. It would have been tied 2-2, but we won 2-0 because I knocked the flag off twice.
Wow. See?
I mean,
I haven't played yet, so that's a Pistola player right there.
I'm just
player.
Sometimes I just do things that are questionable, but make mistakes. It's not a mistake though. I did that on purpose. I was like, God, it's so funny when you do it. The second time I was like, oh God, here it comes. And I knocked the rocket guy off with him, and I was like, no! I was like, that sucks. These guys are pissed, because after the game, they were like, I hate you. I was like, I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. I just feel bad.
Apologizing because you've done the dirty on them.
I felt bad.
Okay then. All right, we're going to move on to the next map then. Again, I'm always going to do is going to pause. If you've got any questions whatsoever regarding any map, so if you've got any questions for Pistola or Mr. Ghostayame at the end, please tweet them to Slinky. His Twitter handle is on there. I'm assuming it's that way. Is it that way? I went. Okay, never mind. Also, if anyone can donate, please donate. This will buy us an 88 Black Magic for our streaming purposes, so we'll be able to stream the EU Championships I-49 across the globe. Very well indeed. Moving on then, we are moving on to Haven. Now, currently, Haven for us is only used as a Slayer map. Adam, why do you think the EU, or what's your personal stance on us not using Haven for extraction?
The amount of times we haven't played it at all in our settings, and the only time I play it is in matchmaking, and whenever I play in matchmaking, no matter who's on your team, from Europe, you will always lose because the Americans actually know how to play it. But I don't know, I'm not a big fan of it purely because, mostly because we all suck at it. But at the same time, I don't know, I don't feel like it works personally. I mean, it's a good map for Slayer, but I don't know, just the way. I mean, it's a decent game type. Like Station 9 to me is like the ultimate extraction game type, and I don't know, I just don't feel like Haven works. Like, it has a lot of ways why it does, but I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of it.
Harry, you there?
Yeah, I think the reason we don't use Haven Extraction is because there's a bit of a misconception that it promotes a lot of sort of negative gameplay where a lot of the players need to be down low, because obviously two of the extractions are down low at bottom open and bottom closed. But if you watch a lot of the top teams scrim and they play Haven Extraction, a lot of them focus on top mid control and sort of top red and top blue. It's a lot of base to base control. So I think Haven Extraction, for me, instead of Haven Extraction, we have Dispatch Extraction, and for me that's a much more solid extraction map. But I think Haven Extraction is a bit misinterpreted in my opinion.
Okay, before we go to our actual changes, because there are actually a few changes on this one that I haven't discussed. Justin, Eric, Ola, we'll start with you first, Ola. Should it be a Slayer map only, or is it good as an extraction map, Haven?
I'm going to be a little biased because my team's really good at it, but I like Haven Extraction simply because, like, all extraction game types are going to be played in an awkward way. Like, obviously, it's hard to, like, Station 9, you don't see somebody sitting top middle controlling top mid when the extraction's bottom red or bottom blue. You have to lurk around the extraction, go to the anchor position, and it to be honest, it just works. I like how it starts on top middle, so you have a push top middle immediately in the beginning of the game. Then it moves to bottom closed and then bottom open. And the bottom open one is always the most intense one. That's probably the only one that I actually have probably some beef with, because say your whole team dies and you spawn normally by the lifts. Usually, and you have to either A, lift top middle, or go to blue or close, whatever, choice you make. But at the same time, I like that because that means they 100% secure the convert. And it makes the C one just so, the C extraction is, to be honest, the most intense extraction on that game type, I think.
Yeah.
Because you can get the sneaky ones, all the spawns and everything. But
yeah, that's cool.
Honestly,
I love that.
We consistently always win in that game type. Normally, because I think it's a consistent game type. If you play well as a team and you understand it, you can win every time.
Okay, I'm going to hit you guys with the changes that we've actually made to Haven, and this is for the EU settings. And I want and obviously remembering that we only play Slayer on this one. So, quick overview then. Overshield replaces Railgun, and a jetpack is added to the ditch on open ramp. So, overall view of that one. Overshield on Mohawk produces more of an aggressive playstyle to the map. Instead of the usual just sitting top middle or on the streets, teams have to push coordinately in order to obtain Overshield. You wouldn't want to miss out on getting an OS, unlike the Railgun. And the jetpack provides fast access to top middle over various other places around the map. Using the jetpack strategically can make some game-changing methods. Sometimes you find yourself bottom middle, and then the option is to sprint up for 10 seconds to get back into the action with your team. However, with a jetpack, you can lift up through the levels and make some sneaky plays which could bring your team to the win. It's surprising how many people do not take advantage of this when it is such a strong, powerful upgrade. You know what? I'm always starting with Ola, so Ghost. OS over railgun. Thoughts?
Well, personally, in all the game tests throughout all of them, I like to have a variety of weapons and power-ups and all that kind of stuff on the maps. So that's why, we only have Overshield on Onyx, and also we have it on Dispatch, and also, last but not least, Simplex. And then we also have Railgun, on Abandon and Haven, and also Simplex. So, I like to have, a certain amount of variety per map. And I think that Haven works pretty well with the railgun. The overshield definitely could work, but I just think that we're kind of oversaturating the maps with the overshield. And there's also an overshield on Abandon as well. So I think it just would really be oversaturating the map with those power weapons and power ups. But the main reason why I have the extraction on Haven is not just because of that it plays well in my opinion, but also mainly because that it's Haven, right? It's the map. It's the stable map of Halo 4. It's the midship of Halo 4. It's the I don't know, the pit of the Halo 4, whatever you guys want to call it. It is that. So I felt that it is necessary in our competitive game types to provide it with two game types, two slots in our rotation, not just the Team Slayer. Halo, we had it going on for a little bit. We obviously saw the glitch come into play. We might see that come back in the future if the everyone scoring counts, that works out, and see how that kind of comes through with the testing. But for now, regardless of the fact, it's Haven. It deserves two slots for sure in our play, and I feel that Extraction right now does a definitely a solid duty kind of filling that spot. So, yeah.
Okay, Ola. Swapping out an overshield for the railgun and a jetpack on the ramp to get around and access a bit more mobility. Thoughts on both, please?
Do you guys have a sniper on Haven too?
Adam, yes, no sniper. Slinky's nodding his head. We do.
Okay. Well, I think that's cool having the jetpack. If there's only one, and it spawns accordingly, like once a minute or something. But because it'd be kind of cool place. Think about this: like you're all spawning bottom open, your teammates push out bottom middle, go to bottom blue, bottom red, wherever you want to push, and then you push top middle, and then you have one guy who has a jetpack just sitting bottom open, and they can have a push where the jetpack guy lifts up, and then they collapse on top middle. I think that'd be pretty cool. But I don't agree with the overshield because it's such a small map, but I also don't like the railgun, as you guys know. So I prefer another weapon on Mohawk. I don't know what weapon. Something else, but at the same time, concussion rifle. Is that what you want out there? I mean, I'd love to try.
I want up there. That's what I want up there. We'll see.
Is that what you want up? All right.
Yeah, it works. It works around the pillars and whatnot around Haven. It's actually pretty useful and even like on Extraction, you can hit someone off the extraction point. Dude, I mean, it's really freaking cool, man. I swear, it's pretty solid. We just gotta test it. I'll get your opinion in there.
Since the railgun's so inconsistent nowadays until it gets a buff up or some kind of update, I think the railgun should be replaced. But overshield on that game type, I think it might be too powerful, especially for Extraction, because the overshield guy would just grab the overshield and immediately go to the Extraction and most likely get it, because it only takes 3 seconds, Eric, on the first one. So yeah, there's no way you're gonna kill that guy. I just personally like the idea of having a different gun instead of the railgun, which the concussion rifle I'm down to try on.
Cool. Okay. All right, then that pretty much wraps up Haven, I think, for the time being. But I don't know. I'm still on this whole thing of, obviously we're swapping out the weapons on there. Can I ask the stream, what do people think in the Twitch chat then? Do people like the railgun, 1 for railgun or 2 for an OS? What do people would like to see on there? I want to see what the US thinks of this one. 1 for the railgun, 2 for the OS. Tell us what you think, guys.
Yeah, it'd be really cool is if we had different power-ups we could use. I wish active camo could still be used. That'd be cool.
Oh, man. Camo on Haven would be perfect.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just on certain game types, camo would just be the greatest. But, oh well.
Okay. I think that's pretty much that map wrapped up then. There's not much to say on it at Haven as such because it's quite an intriguing one anyway, but it's quite a set one. So we'll move on to the next one, which is... Oh, in fact, sorry, I didn't even ask you, Eric. Any possible changes that you fancy coming for V5 in Haven, or is it even going to be there?
We might again see the concussion rifle being tested. Definitely some new spawns coming in just to fix some of the just occasional, very very rare random spawns that have been going down. So yeah, just standardized testing and just casual improvements as always. So nothing major just yet.
Okay, then. Moving on to one of the newer maps. We're going to be going on to Skyline. Again, any questions, guys, please tweet them to Mr. Slinky. Have you got any questions on Skyline now? If you tweet him, he will pass them on and we'll try and get them answered for you. So Skyline for us, again, I'm not right. I don't know if I'm right in saying we're either looking for something to change out with, or it's certainly an unofficial one. It's in the ones that are waiting to be changed. So we only play, I'm right in saying Slayer on there at the moment. Ola, Skyline, what's your thoughts on it? Good map, bad map?
I think it's a good map. I think it'd be a better map without Sprint. But I think it's a good map. It's, as Eric's been saying, it's on the disc. Well, it's a downloaded map. So that's good. It's a developer-made map. I think it works really well if you know how to play it. Always run the flag DMR side, never run a needle side because they have a higher percentage chance of spawning needles and it's too open. But I think it works really well. I like the sticky debt bottom middle, even though I could see that getting replaced, even though it still works well. It's not too overpowered. I don't think there needs to be any power-ups on that map. I think it runs well. Very smooth.
Is there anything you'd like in place of sticky debt? Is there anything you think would make it a better game type without sticky debt and something else in place of it? I don't know what any idea from yourself would be. Just any ideas? Or if Eric, if you've any ideas of swapping it out with anything?
To be honest, sticky debt works so well just because once you get sticky debt, you can get top control and you can kind of put some pressure on them. A lot of people don't use sticky debt the proper way. Well, the way I like to use it is I just keep shooting it at the person. Like, you can't be afraid. You can't try to like aim it and get it close to them. Just kind of like weaken them and get them to back up. Because it's so easy to four shot somebody. You know, if you're in an open angle, you just kind of back them down. I think the sticky debt works well, but I could see other weapons definitely working better. Not the railgun. It's just not going to work on that map, especially spawning bottom mid. I don't see overshield working just because that you would secure a cap it'd be too easy to cap with overshield on Skyline. You just get overshield, immediately charge to their base, and pull flag, and cap it pretty much. It'd be as simple as that. So I don't know, and I think the sticky debt works well.
Okay. Adam, anything you can think of on Skyline? I know we're looking at something else.
Not really. I mean, what Ola covered is pretty much is true. We can't really have overshield on it. There's not a lot of weapons we can slam on it. But yeah, not a lot else really.
Quite well.
Just quickly to jump in, why top mid don't use flag for Skyline is because if when you're pulling a flag and you die, you can spawn underneath. I think you guys call it needles in your settings. Underneath the needles, we call it benches, something like that. You can spawn underneath there, and with sprint, in one sprinting motion, you can be into their base straight away, and that's why we don't really use the flag because
it's something that we got to fix. It got a little bit hectic with the spawns recently. We didn't want to get people spawning too close into their base, but also too far out, and obviously we ended up executing the latter, unfortunately. So with V5, we're definitely going to see some changes with sprint going into that game type, and obviously if it doesn't get tested fair enough or well enough, then it will be removed. But as of now, I think that it is a map that we just kind of have to play with. I mean, again, we worked, I think we worked 7 or 8 months on a bend and tweaking the spawn system, and now that map finally plays is amazing. I think that Skyline had a much better starting base, I guess you could say, for a disc map, so it shouldn't take us more than 2 tries really to get this one right. So we'll see how it kind of pans out.
All
right then. Any changes you'd like to see, Justin? Anything you can think of for
probably
Skyline?
Just the spawn system.
Yeah,
the spawn system just a little bit. They spawn too close and underneath their needles, and they can just bring up your DMR ramp and get to your base. It makes it really extremely hard to cap. To be honest, actually, I'm pretty sure we played. I can't remember who we played against, but the past 2 days we played Skyline, CTF, and the game ended 1-0. Which never happens. So, it's because we got 6 flag backs, and and would just die, and they would get returned, and then potentially get a counter cap. So I guess the only thing I would like to see would be, probably them spawning on their pipes a little bit more, if that maybe something like that. Maybe spawning more up their needle stairs. I don't know.
Just moving on to that one, we call them needles. I'm assuming there is a needler on place in there.
Yes.
Needlers on Skyline. Are they useful? Did they get used?
It depends on the player. I personally don't like to use them because, as I said, I trust myself with the BR over myself with the needler. But it can work, but it helps out more with call-outs, and I don't think the only thing that could replace it would be like a rifle, and you already have every rifle on the map, and you don't really need an extra battle rifle because you already have 8 players spawning with them. You shouldn't run out of ammo on that small map.
Okay then. And anything finally you'd like to see for V5? Well, you sorry, aren't you? The spawns, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then this next one could get a little bit controversial because I've heard words about what you've said about this one before. Station 9, currently one of my favourite maps in the whole game. I spoke to, in fact, I won't tell who I spoke to. We'll get your thoughts on it first. Eric, Station 9. What's your thoughts on Station 9?
I mean, right now it's obviously a map that has been rallied into competitive play by its support groups and its community. It provides a great extraction game type. Obviously, not too versatile of a map and very linear, as a lot of people like to note. But it also provides that standard teamwork, route-based, kind of rat race-esque type of map. So with that said, though, at the same time, we do have it kind of up in the air. If we have another extraction map come into play, such as maybe Orion or Vertigo or other maps, would kind of come in and kind of knock it off its block. So it is a good map for now. It definitely kind of, I guess you could say, satisfies the extraction game type that we need. But in moving forwards, I think that there are definitely a lot better options that we could see pop up. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, Justin, Station 9, your thoughts on it, please.
Well, I personally like it, even though our worst game type is easily Station 9 extraction. Everyone knows it. It really boils down to we aren't as patient as we need to be, just because we enjoy playing Halo and killing people so much on Halo that we charge a lot and just we get bored. But at tournaments, I think it's a good game 3. It's a crucial game type to be good at because that's either a 3-0 if you're up 2-0 or it could be a continuation of the series. So I actually like the lines of sight, and Eric showed me today this cool on the anchor spawn. He actually placed the spawn points where the spawners are looking away from you, and if players just kidding, I didn't say that. But Eric showed me a couple of these spawns, and I'm liking the way extraction looks nowadays. We're actually playing a lot better the past couple days, so I personally like it. I like how rockets spawn top middle. I like how team-oriented it is. It reminds me of a drift in a way. Not as many lines of sight, have to push together kind of thing, which is pretty much every extraction game type. But I
Justin,
personally like it.
Out of interest, which extraction do you prefer, Haven or Station 9?
Probably Station 9. Because Station 9 is made for extraction, it seems. The map was made to play extraction. Haven was made to play just Halo. So, Halo, as Ghost said earlier, Haven is the midship of Halo 4. Pretty much. It was the competitive map from the beginning.
Okay, I'm just going to ask somebody on their thoughts here about. Okay, just while I'm waiting on that, then Ghost. Station 9. What's the possibilities of losing it in V5? Highly or low? Ghost? Eric?
Wait, hold on. Say that one more time?
Sorry. I said in V5, what's the likelihood of saving Station 9?
Again, it really just depends on what other ones will come and knock it off. There's no really likelihood or not. It really depends on what maps come into place and see how they kind of fare in terms of competitiveness against Station 9 and also likability, I guess you could say, something like that. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. I don't think there's really... What was that, sorry?
I said I'd love to see Oddball make a comeback.
Really?
Yeah, not exactly being able to throw the ball, but I would like to be able to, like Halo 2 days, hold it. I think it'd be cool because then you could be able to take out, Station Eye Extraction or Haven Extraction and put in an oddball game types here or there. But as you know, we can't play oddball right now because it's not as competitive as we'd like.
Yeah, I mean, we might see Ricochet come in, and we have to test that, obviously, a lot. But this is a nice little new game type that we could see getting tested out. And it kind of fixes the throwing mechanic, you know what I mean, of the oddball game type. So we'll see how that fares in competitive play as well, and if it's a viable option for us.
I would like to see King of the Hill make an appearance. I'm not anytime soon exactly. I just miss King of the Hill, to be honest. It's one of my
I do as well.
game types.
What map do you think it'd work well on, Justin?
I don't think it'd work well in Haven, 2 open lines of sight, but it could. It definitely could if you placed it in the right area. Let me think. Dude, to be honest, Station 9 could play King of the Hill.
There is a Station 9 King of the Hill. I've played it before, yeah.
Do you like it?
It was pretty good.
Definitely could play it somewhat well.
There was the top hill, and basically where the rocket spawned, that was one of the hills, and there was one where the extracts are on bottom green and bottom yellow. I'm not sure if there was another hill somewhere else, but it was pretty decent.
Well, yeah. As long as it all depends on how the spawns are on the map. That's the most important thing in King of the Hill, because it's like CTF is simple spawns, and like King of the Hill, it's going to be very complicated to try to make the spawns work. So it all depends on the spawns on the map, to be honest, more than the map itself.
Sure.
Okay, then. Eric does need to get off, so we are going to wrap it up. Well, not wrap it up, we're going to crack on, so we can wrap it up shortly. The main thing at the moment, Eric, is the EU does not play Adrift and Abandoned. And Justin can back you up here. Can you tell us, as the EU, why we should start playing Adrift and Abandoned?
I mean, really, just what it comes down to right now. We know why I use Adrift and Abandoned, right? We know the disc map and the asymmetricalness of Abandoned and the dual sniperness of Adrift, and also how it's a disc map, split screen, developer support, yada yada yada. That list goes on. Well, from here on out, and also it's easier for Halo 4 casuals to come in and understand what maps they're playing and all that kind of stuff. So now it comes down to, do you guys want to separate yourself? Do you guys want to hinder your own community by taking out Adrift and Abandon? I mean, looking at your game types, and this is, again, not trying to patronize whatsoever, but when we're talking about a Halo 4 playlist, you guys only have Haven Team Slayer and Skyline Team Slayer are the 2 disc maps, game types, out of all of yours. So, that's not very, Halo 4-esque, you know what I mean? Having, 9 out of the 11 of them are on Forge maps. So, that's the reason why we have to have disc maps, is, again, because we have to kind of work it in as Halo 4's and not just use the Forge maps, even though I would like to. So I think that it's really just imperative that even whether it is adding an extra Skyline game type or adding an extra Haven game type, you guys will start to really see why I made the decisions the way I did, is so that people that come from these other playlists, when Legendary Slayer comes out, they can come into our playlist and maybe they like our Abandoned more than the Abandoned that they're playing, and maybe they like our Drift more than the Drift that they're playing, that kind of stuff. So I just think that I think it's necessary to kind of provide these people with a fair competitive balance of the maps that they are familiar with, but over in our playlist, and so give them a solid start out, with the battle rifle, and everyone has the same loadout. And really just providing them with a solid competitive Halo 4 experience, not just with Forge maps, but also with the disc maps. So.
Okay. Same question to you all. Why do you think the EU should bring back Adrift and Abandon for the 2 game types that we're missing at the moment?
Well, most important thing, in my opinion, is that we unite as a community. The casuals need to be playing what the competitive players are playing. That's why Halo 1 and Halo 2, Halo 3 were so great. I personally just want everyone to, it sounds cheesy, but I want everyone to get along, and I want everyone to start playing the same game types together, and especially since Halo 5 is coming out with these designated servers, we're going to start playing with you guys a lot more, because, the host won't be as bad. Mm-hmm. And, I just personally, having disc maps, I I personally think abandon is great. Especially nowadays, we used to call it half abandon because people would only spawn on the beach side. But nowadays, a lot of people spawn gold, especially if you leave gold and you just control ring 3. People will spawn behind you, which is good. And it reminds me of what map does it remind me of? Like Construct in a way, and like it's very simple, like style of play. You control ring 3, and when you get weak, you push down, and then you come back up. And it honestly works really well. I think you guys should test out Abandon. I know that you guys will probably like it if you play it more. For Adrift CTF, it's a little bit different. People are gonna bash me for saying this, but I never liked I never liked Countdown as a map back in Halo Reach, and that Adrift just pretty much reminds me of Countdown every time I play it. And the best way to play those game types, because a lot of people loved Countdown. People were like, oh yeah, Countdown's my favorite game type. Oh yeah, this and that. The best way to play those game types is to stick by your teammates, but not close enough where you can get double naded and stuff like that. So like, Abandon is definitely better than Adrift, but you got to give Adrift a chance. It hasn't even reached its potential yet. People don't even play it correctly. People still go.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that ridiculous game at the last tournament too. That was like the coolest game. I mean, obviously it was only one of many, but it was still definitely the most exciting Halo 4 game I've seen yet. Between was it SQ and Warriors, right? Going back and forth.
Oh yeah. That I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah, that was pretty ridiculous, though.
I like you can play. The cool thing about Adrift is that if you can play as a team, you can dominate. That's why I like it so much. We've had games where we've beat teams in like 6 to 8 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Five flag caps in 6 to 8 minutes on Adrift. That just proves its consistency to me.
And that's the thing is that at the end of the day, these game types, they might be a little bit boring and long, but I'd rather that have it than when we saw Warlock Team Slayer back in the day, or even Amplified Team Slayer. Those game 5s that just were so shaky at times, you feel like, or just unpredictable, right? So I wanted to make sure that all these game types, even Onyx Team Slayer, is that consistent, fair approach where the better team wins. So.
By the way, I saw a more epic game than that Adrift game recently. I was watching, I think it was Classic versus Reality Check, and they went to 33 minutes.
Oh, yeah, I heard about it. I think it's
I watched the whole thing, and from a Loom Night screen. It was so... I was biting my nails. I was just like, oh my god. And then APG went like neg 21, and like all these other players went like negative, and like a lot of players went huge positive, and they're all close to like the 1,000 point mark, if not like at the 1,000 point mark. It was insane. And like, that's strange to me how like players can end 1-1 in 33 minutes. Like, obviously they were all playing great defense. Like, which is another thing that you can argue that the map's broken because you can play for 33 minutes tied 1-1, but I can argue with you that apparently the teams played such great defense that they couldn't cap on each other very well. Because it's that kind of map. It's a defense-offense map. When you're on offense, you have to commit 100% to being offensive, and then whenever you're dying and spawning in your base, you have to play defensive. I like it. People might not like it, but I like it.
I gotcha.
Okay.
And, respect everyone's opinions,
Yeah, for sure.
So, Ghost, those two maps for the US community then and V4, any changes for those two maps that you think you're going to do for V5?
Just really spawns. Abandon probably is going to stay very similar. Same with the Drift, just a couple spawn changes here and there, but nothing major unless we have anything really brought to our attention. But for now, yeah, just same thing for now.
Okay then. Right, guys, Eric does need to get off, but I am going to ask him the major questions that a lot of people have been begging for. So, first off, any major changes coming, and that also includes sprint for V5?
Oh man, the infamous sprint question. There isn't really any major changes coming to V5 that I know of just yet. I haven't really thought about too much on the no sprint topic. We all know how much it would require in terms of testing to really get that going. And also, we'd have to get a game type from Quinn and all that kind of stuff. As of now, we all know how sprint and no sprint is. I think we can all agree that we respect the classic formula of Halo and everything that it provided. I think that we all miss that and definitely want to have that back. But really, what it comes down to is that do we want to go through all the testing phases? Do we want to go through all that kind of stuff for our playlist in Halo 4? And I mean, we have to really test every map all over again. Not gonna lie, I'm saying this truthfully. It would probably take us testing a total of 2 to 3 months to effectively evaluate all maps and get everything set up again in terms of spawns as well as weapon locations and all that kind of stuff. So we'd really be putting ourselves on hold for about 3 months. So with that said, though, at the same time, also I don't know if you guys have played this no sprint game type, but it is more of an ice skating than it is no sprint. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen it. Again, I'm one of the biggest advocates for no sprint. I brought it out back in the early days when Reach came about. I thought that sprint was imperative to remove. Obviously, we saw it getting taken out at the end of Reach. Sprint was a lot different in Reach. It was a lot more detrimental to gameplay. It wasn't balanced as well. It didn't have stopping power. It wasn't balanced as well as it is in Halo 4. So when that was removed, everyone cried obviously with tears of joy. But in Halo 4, it's not as night and day as it was in Halo Reach per se. So with that said, I do not want to obviously continue with sprint and all that kind of stuff in the future of Halo, whatever the case may be. But at the same time, we have to realize what's in the best interest of our community and of our future. And I'm not talking about just about the Halo 4 threat on playlist, but right now you guys are looking at the $500,000 free fall being played. Thankfully, they use V4 maps, V4 game types, V4 settings, all that kind of stuff, and we can actively share these competitions with them. And we had Frank O'Connor get on the mic and say he wants more traditional tournaments. So again, we need to put ourselves in the right position for the rest of the future for Halo 4. Obviously, you guys know how close I am with 343. I've been talking with them a decent amount, so I'm going to do whatever is necessary to put ourselves in the best position for really just the future in terms of gameplay, and also not just worry about the this throwdown playlist. We know that we have the free fall coming up and all that kind of stuff, but seriously, guys, think about the big picture. If it does come down to it, and we do get the okay to use no sprint, and it's not just for myself, but just really a lot of people involved to use no sprint, then that's what we will pursue, right? But at the same time, we're talking about the throwdown playlist in Halo 4, right? We're not talking about the whole game of Halo 4. We're not talking about Infinity Slayer. We're not talking about Halo 5. I mean, and that's the thing that I want to focus on, is that in the future, we talk about descoping, we talk about flinch and no sprint and all those types of things, and we know what worked and what doesn't, and we saw what happened with Reach, and we know all those types of things. So we want everything to be back to normal. We want everything to be perfect and nostalgic, and all those types of things. So we'll test it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we're going to have to really get to the bottom of it. And from what I've seen, and I like to think that my gut has always really proven me right. In a sense, when doing these settings, is that it's gonna. I personally know that it's gonna. If we went with no sprint, it isn't in the best interest of our community. And I hate to say that. I hate to come out and say that to you guys, that in Halo 4, I don't think it is the battle that we should be doing. I think that we should really be looking towards it for the next game, and keep moving on with this one. And honestly, guys, I don't know how else to put it except for that's the truth. I think obviously you guys know how I feel about no sprint, but shit, man, it's gonna do more harm than it is good. I sincerely mean that, guys. I don't know what else to tell you.
On record now, Eric, then, here in 390 people, just as your last question, is Sprint looking to stay for the foreseeable future of the game on Halo 4, yes or no?
It's again, it's undecided at this point.
But at this moment in time,
yeah.
as
At this
such,
moment in time, it's undecided at this point. But guys, man, we've gotten pretty far, right? You know, we've come a very long way, and I feel that we're still going to be making progress. But I'll be the first one to say it, you know, to you guys when I think something is in the best interest of our community, right? You know, we've gotten to this point in time. You know, I just had a ridiculous weekend with all of the 343 staff, and this has nothing to do with, you know, trying to pull strings or any of this kind of stuff. 343 Army, all this kind of crap. Like it has nothing to do with this. It literally has to do with putting our community, setting us and our tournaments and everything else entirely up for the best possible scenario. Like I'm not in it so that, you know, like I want you guys to play obviously the best settings. I want all those things to go down. But at the end of the day, it's going to matter about not only how the gameplay plays out, but also where it's going to kind of poise ourselves for the future. So with that said, realize that, you know, from the beginning, man, I've just said trust me and that I've had the best intentions at heart. So it's just such a crazy topic to talk about. We know how controversial it is. It's just as bad as the BR versus DMR was at the beginning of this game, if not worse. We all know that you know, sprint it's a heated topic, so we'll talk about those types of things. And again, it's undecided. I'm just telling you guys from the, you know, really from the bottom of my heart, it's a topic that that we might have to we might have to swallow at some point. And yeah, I mean that's really what it comes down to, right? We have to test it and see what it is. But
is
but
that?
yeah.
I'm sorry, Eric. I'm not going to be a dick or anything, but is that for the foreseeable future of the Halo 4 at the moment and Sprint, from your point of view, your own personal, is that a yes or no that we will be seeing it for the foreseeable future?
I mean, again, this is from what I've seen in videos, all those types of things. I don't think that it's a great. I don't think it's the best interest for us to pursue that at this point in time with the progress that we made. I think it's literally going back steps versus in reach where it was actually going forward steps. So I don't know, but that's where I'm at.
Your opinion, yes or no? Come on, give us an answer, yes or no. Just a personal opinion, then ignore 343 and everything like that. Personal opinion, Sprint for the foreseeable future, yes or no? From Ghost.
I personally think that it's going to be in the future. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but for now, that's what I can personally. I think that it will be in there, and I don't. That's why.
Is that a yes? Is that a yes from Ghost?
I guess. I mean, it's a guess now.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get an answer for everyone.
That's hilarious.
Okay,
So,
good.
I mean,
That was hilarious.
I don't want to put you in an awkward position, so I'll stop with them with that question. Eric, I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Yeah, keep doing what you're doing. I trust in the settings that you do, and I believe that you will bring this community forward, and I hope for V5 that the EU does move. That's my personal view, and it does move to a universal setting with V5. Yeah, I know you need to get off now. All I can ask is if you can mute your mic and turn your cam off so it doesn't mess up the things, and we're going to move on to Justin on that one. But Ghost, from everyone here, and Back to Basics, and everyone you, thank you very much for coming on, pal. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Pistola. Hey, the sprint is a very interesting topic of debate. Obviously, we didn't get a full yes or no answer there, which I'm not going to play on it because at the end of the day, he has a reputation to uphold, and it will be unfair to keep drilling him on it. I think it's ultimately a yes, is what he was trying to say. He kind of did say yes, it kind of is. But your opinion on Sprint then, as one of four in the #1 team in the world right now. Well, sorry, 5, because Diesel's part of that team as well. I do apologise, Diesel. One of 5 of the #1 team in the world. Your opinion on Sprint on record to 414 viewers.
All right. Let's see here. Here we go. 403 viewers. Sorry, my dad almost came in, and he would have been awkward because he just went over there and just watched me. And it's kind of weird to talk to people whenever someone's watching you. You know what I mean? But most importantly, Sprint. Let's see. I personally don't like Sprint. I think it works better in this game than Halo Reach, but I think the game would play better without Sprint. Like Skyline would definitely play better. Onyx. A bunch of these maps would definitely play better. And a lot of maps would have to be changed because some of the maps like Station 9 Extraction are scaled for Sprint. So Station 9 would be taken out if Sprint got taken out. The only way that I would want Sprint to be taken out of Halo 4 is if they took it out of the whole game, not just for competitive settings. Because we don't want to separate ourselves from the casual players. Casuals are the players who watch. If they might not be playing competitively, but they're the ones who get us the views. And if they're playing a different game than us, it's not going to work. So I personally think if no splint is implemented like in the whole entire game, where even in matchmaking when you play Infinity Slayer, you still have no sprint, that'd be fantastic. But if they can't do that, I don't think they should take it out for competitive settings. We don't want to separate ourselves.
Okay then. So again, from you, is that a definite no for sprint then? Will you answer this? Will you answer?
What is the question exactly?
Sprint, yes or no?
Like,
Yeah,
do I like sprint? Or do I?
Point blank, does it need removing from Halo 4?
Oh, yes.
Yes from the man.
Personally think that sprint ruins the game simply because players can get away easier. But it also, I honestly believe 343 did a really good job at making sprint balanced. Because when you run away, you get shot, your sprint slows, and players they get punished for trying to sprint away. And it also kind of changes the dynamic of the game where if you're not thinking and you just kind of sprint like you're Attic or something on a drift and there's just a guy there and they have the first 2 shots, you're pretty much dead. So it will change the game a lot. It'll change it for the better because there'll be more individual battles where, like, instead of you sprinting accidentally and this guy's already Attic, you'll not be sprinting and you'll be an even battle. And whoever has a better shot will win. So it'll make it more competitive, definitely. So I think if they implemented it in the whole entire game, it'd be great. But people need to realize, though, it's really hard since the game is already out. It's going to be really hard for them to code in no sprint and take out all these things because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's extremely hard for a developer to change the game that's already out. They'll need a lot of time, and there's a lot of things that I personally would want to be changed with Halo 4. But, to answer the question, I would love no sprint. I think it'd be fantastic.
Right. Well, it's been a very interesting one, guys. I think for the moment, we're going to do a little bit of an interview with Ola now, probably another 20 minutes. But yeah, we're just going to ask you a couple of questions. We've got a couple of quick-fire questions that we want you to answer. Guys, I'm sorry I couldn't get you a full answer from Eric. He does have a reputation to uphold, and I can understand that he needs to watch what he says. I have asked him 3 times. I think ultimately he did say it kind of is a yes. It is staying in. I think that's ultimately what we got, but I'm not going to put words in the guy's mouth. He's at the end of the day, he does wonders for us, and he does wonderful things. But if we can, he didn't say it fully. I'm going to stand by that. He didn't actually say yes directly. He wouldn't. So we can't say he said yes, but it does sound like sprint is foreseeable. And I'm quite worried that I did hear the possible thing of maybe even the next Halo having sprint. That kind of worried me. I did hear that in there. That'll be interesting to see what people say about this on Beyond Tomorrow. So, guys, that's the end of the actual settings thing. We've got a couple of questions. Quick fire question round now for you, Ola.
Oh crap.
Oh, here we go. Quick fire question.
This is it.
Hams, if you want to put the cam on Ola, we're going to fire these questions off quick time. And the first one's a little bit of an explanation, but the next ones are quick fire questions. So the first one, Ola, state of Halo right now. What do you think it's in, and how do you think it can get better?
I think we're damaged right now, but it's honestly compared. Think about back in January where Halo was and where it is now with these new updates and everything. Halo's definitely a lot better, and a lot of players are coming back. So I could see it in the next year or so, definitely becoming a game that could be on the MLG circuit. We just need people, as I keep saying for the 500th time probably now, that the casuals need to be playing the game that we're playing. It needs to be a competitive game out of the box. And to be honest, back to that sprint thing, because I forgot to mention this earlier, people need to realize that 343 is not only trying to work on Halo 4 and throw this 500,000 in prize tournament for us, they are also working on the new Halo. So It depends. Do you want them to try to perfect Halo 4 or focus most of their time on the new Halo? I personally would want them to put a little bit of time in Halo 4 because they've already put, they gave us 4-shot with the VR, and I actually like playing Halo so much now that I'm probably going to get on Halo in like a couple hours and screw my team again. I enjoy playing Halo now because the 4-shot VR, and I enjoy ghost settings and everything. But I'd prefer them to work on the new Halo than work on this Halo.
Okay, fair point then. All right, it's good annihilation. We've got some really super quick fire questions here now. We're just going to fire at you, and it's off the top of your head, no thinking.
All right.
Best player in Halo 4?
Formal.
Best BR?
Snipe down.
Best sniper?
Formal.
Grenade launcher or sticky deck?
Grenade launcher for sure.
Gandhi or Maven?
Maven. Sorry, Gandhi.
Who? Maven or Gandhi?
Maven. Sorry,
Maven?
Gandhi.
These are a bit more slow now. Well, one of them says goats or wizards, apparently.
Goats or wizards?
Yeah.
Apparently, I guess. I don't know. Maybe the wizard just used a spell to turn himself into a goat. Maybe like that. That one?
Sneaky Beaver or Naughty Armadillo?
Sneaky Beaver.
Best teammate?
Oh, come on. This is a hard one.
The heat is on.
Dude, come on, man. This is
The heat is on.
This is a question that's hard because, like, no matter who I say, like, everyone else is gonna get butthurt. The Sudovs were my favorite teammate. Probably Lunchbox.
If you don't like this
Lunchbox?
question, man, you're not gonna like
Lunchbox.
the next one.
Oh, go on, Harry. Have you got a question in?
Well, if you didn't like that one, you're not gonna like this one. Who's your least favorite?
Who's my least favorite? Hysteria. That's an easy one.
Whoa, in. Shots fired.
I'm not. You can't. It's just his personality. We didn't mix well. He tries to go out of his way to get under your skin. He's a troll, and I don't know. It's kind of hard to forgive somebody for pretty much single-handedly making you lose championships. So people don't know that, but I blame championships on him. 2009 championships.
Most memorable event?
Ooh.
I remember one being sat at home watching VOD when you won your first FFA in Halo 2. I remember that.
Those are good days. People don't know this, but you remember the first tournament I won in Meadowlands, 07 free for all. I jumped on my chair and threw my hands up, it was actually funny. The camera guy back then, his name was Lens, which is cool because he takes photographs of MLG and his name is Lens. That's awesome. And he was like, "Hey man, have money that you're gonna win, and after you do, stand in the chair and throw your hands in the air." And I was like, all right. And then I won, and then I did it. But most memorable event, to be honest, you think it'd be MLGs, but these past AGL events have been so much fun. And I love my teammates. I love every single one of my teammates, and they're so much fun to hang out with. Probably AGL, the last AGL event in Knoxville was probably my most fun tournament.
I think it's even more interesting, with AGL and the announcement that they could be working possibly with the UMG. These are only going to get bigger, aren't they, I suppose?
I hope so, because people don't help each other. People need to start helping each other more. We need to try to help AGL out. We need to help UMG out. We need to help teams out. We need to help each other to grow. People don't understand that. We can't just keep bashing each other. We have to come together as one, come together as a community. So that's pretty much why I'm still here. I respect the community, and I love Halo, and I want to see it grow, and I want to see it. Well, when I quit, I want Halo to be at the point bigger than Halo 3 was. I want it to be at that point whenever I decide to throw in the towel.
Next question then. We have... Oh, we've done that one. Favorite Halo game ever?
Halo 2. Even though Halo 1 out of the box was the best Halo.
2 questions. Favorite Halo 4 map and game type?
Ooh, how dare you. Favorite platform map. Interesting. What game type do I look forward to playing most? To be honest, Skyline is probably my favorite Halo format. But my favorite game type is probably... It's definitely a CTF. I'm trying to figure out what CTF. Probably... Okay, it's definitely not Dispatch. I can tell you that.
Sorry, I can break you off here. Gandhi says, why have you chosen Maven over me?
Because Maven and I are lovers. It's no joke. Everyone knows that. Scott, you and I are just, we go around and hunt. We go around taking venisons live. I'm just kidding. Like Scott and I would be there, like, we'd hang out and just like, just talk about the good old times, and like Maven and I would just be hanging out, talking about like stuff that shouldn't be said in public. That's like, even though Scott and I say some things that shouldn't be said. But favorite,
favorite.
Simplex Flag.
Simplex Flag, is that for both game type and map then?
Favorite maps, Skyline. Favorite game type, Simplex Flag.
Favorite weapon, favorite non-BR weapon.
Oh man, is this what's going on now? Probably the rockets. Just because, I mean, how can you go wrong with those?
I suppose. Okay.
Well,
we've had a couple of questions coming on Twitter. Adam, I'll let you find a way with the ones that Harry's putting in because you haven't said much, so you can go.
One of the ones I have, Justin, is I was watching your stream the other night, and you were running the flag on a dispatch, and you were jumping through the holes. And every time you jumped through a hole, you made like a pig squealing noise. Like, do you do that all the time, or?
It depends on my mood, because sometimes I like to joke around. Like, I don't know. I like to, because when I'm streaming, I want to entertain the viewers and entertain myself and my teammates, to just kind of say things that you wouldn't expect someone to say, especially like when you're running flag. I mean, it's kind of boring, like on dispatch, when you're snipe down and formal at both snipers, and they know the spawn so well that they're spawn killing the other team. Like, I know I'm safe, so I just kind of like, I like to just jump around, just like do some phases, just kind of like to enjoy my flag route, because I already know the route I'm gonna take. It's not like I'm sitting there thinking, all right, which way am I gonna take this? So, I know where I'm going. I'm just gonna, because I do the same route every time. I prefer to run green, because we're a red team, and I'd run green, and then I don't like to jump through those holes, but sometimes I do, because they're tinier, and but like, I'll just run through there, and then I like to spring jump off the box, and like land on, the green sticks, and then I like to jump into the holes, and I just go boink, like real fast, because I like to crouch and like hit the top, and just run, and then jump and hit crouch, and then I like to spring jump off the last box onto the flag cap, because if you do it correctly, you'll land right on the flag cap, and if you die, it'll be right on the flag cap spot. And somebody in the stream just said I'm retarded. That's really offensive, man. What's up with that?
That's a bit strong, isn't it?
Man,
very nice.
That's taking it to the extreme, bro.
Ignore the haters. Ignore the haters, bro. That's all we need to do. Ignore the haters.
Kill them with kindness.
Okay, ignoring that. Oh, carry on then, Adam. You'll answer.
Another question, Harry can't talk. What's your controller settings and your gaming setup?
Okay. Well, I play on 5 cents, no 5, default everything, except for the toggle crouch. I took that off. I also play claw, so it makes it, I'm like this all the time. But my gaming setup, I actually, right behind me, like right exactly behind me, is my Xbox, my computer, and then I have a computer here that I stream with, and then over here I actually have another computer, and the Xbox is hooked up to this, another Xbox hooked up to this TV, so you can either go on the internet or play on another Xbox. It's pretty much, this is like the game room, where, like, you guys might actually like this, but I have all my pro player passes and, like, a big nerdy wall and stuff over here, which you guys might like. Let me unplug
Oh,
this.
look at that.
Here we
Look
go.
at that. You should put them on eBay. You'd make some serious money.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. This is laggy because I'm doing it off the Twitch, so I'm trying to, like, do this correctly, but it's kind of hard.
Do you have any idea how many's there, Justin?
Do I? Like,
how many passes?
I got this. This is the actual official check from Final Boss Days, whenever we won in 2010. It's the one we held up in the pictures. I have, like, let me think, probably around, like, 30-something pro player passes, and, like, VIP. I have, like, all the wristbands at the events. I keep all of my hotel key cards and stuff which they probably don't like it when I do it, but I like to
And
have memories.
just from obviously this is a bit of a rude question, so if you don't want to answer, just say pass. But since you've been playing competitively, a rough guesstimate, how much money have you actually made as a pro player then? Since playing, how much do you think, a rough ballpoint guess, do you think you've actually made as a pro player? Just if people, I know it sounds daft, but people looking to be a pro player and progressively make money off of it, is it a lucrative job?
Probably not, but if you stream and get a lot of viewers, yes, because you can be making a steady income, and also if you have a sponsor. But I've probably made like $150,000.
Jesus. That's some good money. That's some good money.
That's just because of the national championships and MLG giving out like 5,000 each for winning first, and I've competed in a lot of tournaments since '07, so. And I've saved up as much money as possible. I don't just go around like this.
Someone in the chat says, "What controller do you use? Is it a standard one?"
I actually do use a standard one, but Diesel hooked me up. I'll show you guys it right now. He gave me these green joysticks, and they are kind of gluey, so my fingers stick to them. And my aim, just from the past 3 weeks, because I got it right after Chicago, my shot has never been so steady. And these are the ones that Snipedown used, and he was bragging about them. He's like, my sniper is so steady now. And I was like, well, I'm going to get these joysticks and try them out. But it's just a regular controller I got from Walmart that he no-slowed because Diesel knows how to fix up controllers. And, yeah, looks cool. He also made 4 of these, too, like the joysticks, the green ones. So just in case those run out or wear out, I can just pop them in.
And for anyone who's wondering, do you know what those sticks are and where you get them from?
No idea. Nope.
So tweet Diesel then. Hashtag NASA.
For sure. Tweet at him.
Oh, he'll be happy now. He'll be really happy. He'll have tweets flying in left, right, and centre.
I hope so. I hope all 457 of you guys tweet it.
Adam, do you want to continue with the last 2 that Harry's put up there?
Yeah, sure. I guess there's another quickfire. Ninja or legit?
Legit.
Formal. Oh, this is the daddy one right here. Formal or Snipedown?
Oh, he's gone silent.
How dare you? You like what exactly is the question here? You mean like as a person, as a player, as overall, everything?
Everything
both at the same time.
Probably a Snipedown. Him and I had a very nice bonding experience. No homo last tournament. It sounded like after I said it, I was like, man, that does not sound. It sounds promiscuous. Well, in reality, it was not. Eric is a quiet guy. I don't know if you guys know that, but Eric's a quiet guy. And once you get to know him, he's a really nice, genuine person. And I really got to know him because I flew to Diesel's house, and he drove to Diesel's house, and we hung out there on Thursday before the event, and then we drove to Chicago together. So, and then we hung out all weekend after that. So him and I really bonded at last Chicago event.
Okay, then there's one more coming which Adam or Harry will not say, and apparently I have to say it, so I'm going to say it anyway. Sims, Slinky, or Az?
Okay, I zoned out because I was reading the chat. Wait, what?
You can pick one. Sims, Slinky, or Az?
What is this? Hold on, let me see.
These 2 little bitches won't ask it, so I have to.
Just like I'm looking at the Skype, just looking at all of you guys.
All 3 of us are staring at you now.
And I'm just like, which one to pick? I want to pick Stinky just because his name's Stinky. Or Slinky, never mind. You just got called Stinky. I don't know. Adam said some pretty hilarious things earlier. He made me laugh, and he was joking about me eating cereal and being jealous about me eating. So I'm gonna have to go with Adam, guys. I'm sorry.
To be fair, he has a beard, so I can quite happily go with that one. I can let you have Adam.
His beard, dude, because I can grow facial hair, but it looks so bad that it's just, I shave it off immediately. So I'm jealous of your facial hair, man.
Well, thank you.
You should honestly on LAN. It's so good to stroke. So damn good, honestly. You can just cuddle up to that thing during FFAs. It's brilliant.
Just on LAN?
Oh, yeah, if you go to a LAN event, you can just sit there and tickle it like
it's just
some sort of animal living on his face.
It's like, yeah, man. It's like I'm me, this right now, it's like, yeah, man, on land, this would taste better.
Right then. Okay. I think that's pretty much us over and done with. Harry, Adam, anything else you want to add to that?
Nah, I'm all good.
Right. So, Pistola, Mr. Justin Dees, thank you so much for joining us on tonight. I hope as a group of us, we've all maybe hindered the EU to possibly go towards V4 stroke, maybe even V5 settings a little bit more than what we have done, a little bit warmer to them. Just the final thing then, Ola, why should the EU join the V4 stroke V5? If we can't do V4, why should we jump on the V5 bandwagon with you guys?
Because I want everyone to unite, and to be honest, Ghost is the one running the settings right now, and since I don't know if we'll be able to find a balance between the two, I think the only solution would be you guys coming to us and changing your settings. But I'd want everyone to unite, and I want everyone to be like, cool, let's go into Team Throwdown and play the same exact settings as everyone else. So I personally think that you guys and Slinky should totally come over.
Oh, he's upset now.
I'm sorry, Slinky. I didn't mean to do that.
If anybody, like we've been doing the hashtag now, so if anybody wants to do hashtag Stinky at Slinky, feel free. We don't mind whatsoever.
Sorry, that's so funny. But
I'm never watching your stream ever. For real.
I can't even look at him. Oh god, he's so disappointed in me. If you guys wouldn't mind also just messaging Diesel and saying hashtag NASA just to upset him, that'd be cool. But yeah, you guys should definitely come over to our settings, because at the end of the day, they're going to be the settings to be played, because he's hopefully, he gets more involved with 343 and maybe potentially could get a job there. That'd be really cool. Working with Bravo, and I just can't wait to see where Halo's going to go in the next couple of years.
What do you expect for Halo? I'm sorry, are we keeping you? Are you scrimming, or are you still?
No, I got nothing to do right now.
Have you got anything you'd like to see in Halo 5? Or Halo, whatever they're going to call it, the next Halo game? Is there anything you'd like to see?
I would like to see a competitive game out of the box that doesn't need any updates, which the most important thing for that is I want 343 to fly out my whole team before they release the game, like a beta, and fly out another team maybe, or just even players, as long as we can play against each other, and as long as there's 8 professional players right now to play against each other and break their game, and we give them ideas, productive ideas, and we can sit down and discuss it in a mature way, and kind of bounce ideas off each other. And I think that would actually work really well for the game. I think that we would be able to break their game, figure out all the glitches, while we play for like a weekend, and then tell them ideas about what they should change, what we liked, what we disliked, and actually them listen to us and respect what we have to say, because we respect them, So I think that would be really cool, and I think that would make Halo 5 one of the most competitive and best Halos ever made.
Quick, one thing we didn't touch on, which someone's just mentioned then. What do you think to de-scoping in Halo? What do you think to the whole de-scope situation?
I personally think that would make the game more competitive, simply because sniping is so easy because you can't get scoped out. And that added a cool new skill gap to the game where, think of this, and people probably haven't even thought of this before, but it's kind of cool back in Halo 2 days when people would use Carbine. The reason the Carbine was so cool is because it was such a fast shooting weapon that you couldn't really time your quickscope very well when you're getting Carbine. And in this game, it'd be the same thing if there was de-scope. You would be getting scoped out because the Carbine, Carbine is the fastest kill time now, and since the update. And you could not quickscope somebody. You'd have to go for a no-scope. And even though no-scoping is easier in this game because they have magnetism for no-scoping, which I think should be removed as well. But de-scoping would make the game more competitive, and it would add skill gap, but it would have to be added to the overall game, not just the competitive settings. The whole game would have to have de-scope. You guys want me to tell you the stuff I want changed?
Absolutely, far away. We've got plenty of time. Anything you've got to say?
Everything, but I would like to be able to pick up the flag and drop it. But I love the flagnum. I think they should implement that. I think they should keep that, because that adds a cool little, if you flagnum somebody, you can embarrass them. to the point where you can talk crap, at a tournament. That'd be kind of cool. Added like when you get beat down with the ball or something, you're like, oh, or beat down with the flag, you're like, oh yeah. But like the flagnum, you're like, oh, you just got outplayed by this flagnum with a giant bloom in your face. So I think they should keep that, but I think you should be able to drop flag and pick it up whenever you want. De-scoping is a thing. The railgun needs to be fixed. Sprint. I would obviously like if there was no sprint, because I miss the days where I could position myself in a really good position, and I know like, oh yeah, this is a really good position. I like being here. But sprint just kind of breaks that, so you kind of just have to keep moving. So I want to get back in the old Halo days when like on onslaught top middle to be able to run away and actually get away and feel accomplished by running away and not be like, whoa, I got away. Thank you, sprint. What else? What else would I like to see changed? I really like how they dulled down the bolt shot. That's cool. The bolt shot was very powerful, and I didn't like how you could spawn with it either. It's like spawning with a shotgun. So I didn't like that in the beginning of Halo 4, but I like these changes they're making, and I feel like they need to have dynamic spawns for weapons. I'm all about making the game as competitive as possible, because Diesel said this before, and it's not exactly true, but there's truth behind it. You can't play a casual game competitively, but you can play a competitive game casually. That's true, but not true, obviously, because there's games that are casual games that people play competitively just for fun, But I want them to make Halo 5 or whatever they call the new Halo as competitive as possible, and I want them to get involved with their game as much as possible, like Treyarch did with Call of Duty, which is why Black Ops 2 is so popular. So I really hope they make it as competitive as possible out of the box. And oh man, I can't wait for ranks. I hope they come out with ranks and some cool playlists. And oh man, I just remember the Halo 2 days, just running into like team doubles and just, oh my god, I played team doubles I think for 12 hours straight one time.
Trying to get your new little symbol to your level up.
I want the crescent moon.
The crescent moon.
We need clan matches. I think clans need to come back, because first of all, my clan would be the Straw Hat Pirates, and we would dominate everyone.
The Straw Hat Pirates.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this, but One Piece is my favorite series of all time.
Oh, good lord. What do you think just from something else was asked on here, what do you think to ordnance drops? Do you think that they tried to make Halo too much like COD when they invented them, or do you think they play a good part?
I honestly, I think they need to be taken out, because not only do they hurt you sometimes unexpectedly, like you're not, especially online, you'll be just spawn your ordnance and then run up to it and think, oh okay, I'll be good, and then like it just magically hurts you. Like you'll be in that same scenario, like 1 out of 10 times it'll happen, and 9 out of 10 you'll be perfectly fine. So kind of makes the game a little bit more random. I think it's cool that you get rewarded, but I would personally like it more if you just, like, say it popped up on your D-pad and you just hit right on the D-pad, you just spawn with it like that. Like, it just spawns on you. You don't have to pick it up. Just, boom, you have it whenever you hit right on the D-pad, or whatever ordnance you want. I think that would be really cool.
Okay.
Reward players for, getting points for whatever, like capping flags or, whatever medals they get.
Anything else, Ola? Anything else you want to discuss or say to the world? Anything about your YouTube channel or your Twitch?
Yeah, you guys should definitely check out our youtube.com/ambushhalo. We've been slacking a lot recently, but we're definitely going to be starting making more content. I know Diesel's sitting here like, content. So we're going to be busting out more content. I'm going to be streaming a lot more. I've just been busy and dealing with some life stuff, but I'm getting back on my grind. So be sure to check out my twitch.tv/JustinPistola, and hopefully I can get like 1,000 viewers here soon.
Right. I think we're going to call that a night then. I want to thank everybody that's tuned in tonight. We almost hit 500. I want to thank every single person. We are looking to do this a little bit more. We're not going to be live all the time, but we are definitely doing to look at, and we're going to discuss it. So if you could all follow this channel, first of all, I'd really appreciate it. But more importantly, if you could follow us YouTube, it'd be even better, because that's where we've put all the back ones. If you want to look at the interview with Naden, interview with Gandhi, interview with Diesel, they're all on there. We do have an interview coming up with can't even remember his name now. Never mind, it's gone.
Ryan Noob.
Ryan Noob, there we go. We've got an interview coming up with Ryan Noob soon, so we need to, after the AGL, that'll be up on there. Please follow us. We'd really, really appreciate it, especially on YouTube. It's back to Basics TV, exactly the same as it is on here on YouTube. Follow us. Follow us on Twitter. Guys, Pistola, thank you very much for joining us again. It has been an absolute pleasure. Anytime you want to come on here and say anything, you are more than welcome, dude. Anytime whatsoever. Guys, from me and the team here, thank you very much. Good night.
Also, thank you, Rain.